Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Die Hard MMA podcast. I'm your host, as always, your boy Clint, and we are feeling good. We are feeling refreshed. We are coming off UFC Sacramento, and you guessed it, another dub for the boys. Let's go. We are on an 8-event win streak. Count them, 8 in a row. Not only that, but we are not pussyfooting around with the little half unit win this week. We didn't get 1.25 units. Your boy got a gigantic 6+ unit win, and we were this close. We were this close to having a 10+ unit night. I still cannot believe, I don't know how the main event went under. Doesn't make any sense to me. Does not make sense to me. Anthony Hernandez's calf was completely destroyed. He got on top of a gas bag, and Gregory Rodrigues, a man who should never be able to cut down to 185 pounds. He got to the back. I'm like, how did neither of these guys kill each other? It baffles the mind. I was so close to having an epic night, but regardless, the reads are sharp. The bounces are good. We only picked one fight wrong, and I was this close to a perfect event. I was this close. I said Jamal Emmers was a guy I wanted to bet, and that there's people in this chat right now. There's people watching this replay who were like, Clint, don't overthink it. Emmers is a bum. He's gonna get iced. And I told you 300 was too much. But I didn't pull the trigger. I ended up going over 1.5 in that fight. I could have smashed, man. It sucks because the dogs are barking again, and I still have not found my ball sack. So I am missing on these epic calls. Dustin Stolfus, Chidi Njokuani, Jamal Emmers. Like, I'm winning, and you guys, I am still not reaching my full potential right now. It is driving me absolutely insane, but we will take it. It was worthy of the money chain this week, having a 6-unit dub. What's going on, everybody, and welcome into the show. Olajuwon Dream, my man, what is going on? Dick's Insider, he says there's too many bums in the UFC for just one person to be wearing the McDonald's hat. I'm getting paralysis by overanalysis. Man, there's plenty of room on the counter. You know, you just got to line like 3 registers up, man. Make it a wide shot. Oh, man, Muhammad, that is what's up. The winning streak does, in fact, continue. Andy G, what is up, my man? We've got the Jake C in the house. Nomad Tam, how we doing? Cameron Junkin, Ninja Bakery Daddy, Dr. Elijah True. Dr. Elijah True. I haven't seen that name in a long time. What's up, buddy? How you been? Have I just been missing you in the chat? Or have you been like off in Timbuktu for a while? How you been? Colby in the house. It Factor MMA. Hasbullah Volk. What's going on? Hein Man Zach. How we doing? Welcome into the chat, everybody. Everybody's starting to run in here. KO your bookie. What is going on with the octopus? That's what's up. 8 weeks in a freaking row. And this week, we are really ready to go, man. We're flying halfway around the world. We're going to have to wake up at like 3 a.m. to watch these fights if you want to keep up with them. We're headed to Shanghai, and I've got one of my favorite people joining the show to talk fights this week, none other than DFS by the numbers, your guy Brady. What's going on, man? How you been?
What's up, Clint? Congrats on 8 in a row. That's insane, man. I mean, that's probably one of the best winning streaks I've ever seen. 8 weeks is crazy, dude.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. So congrats, dude. Keep it up. I was very excited when you asked me to come on the show a couple of weeks ago, and then I looked at the card, and then I said, "Oh God!" But we're here. We're ready to break down some fights. We're gonna find some spots tonight, man. Let's go.
Yes, sir. You know, it's one of those cards. When I do my scheduling, usually it's predicated on, availability and date. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't like look at the card necessarily before I invite somebody. Unless, I had the running joke where like Dan and I broke down every single Jamal Hill fight card, that kind of thing. So we got hooked up, and then, yeah, same thing, man. I thought we had a good card, and then Tafa pulled out. So, here we are just picking up the pieces, like you said. But I will tell you guys, we're going to go over this card, and you are in for a treat because there is nothing but a ton of people on this card who absolutely hate dicks.
You can twist it! Oh my God, dude, this is an MMA fight, dude. You too much. Twist that dick! Twist his dick! Twist his dick.
We have so many people on this card who legitimately have been either on the offensive side or the defensive side of receiving fouls. So we're in for one hell of an evening. How did you do at last week's event? And was there anything at Sacramento that like jumped off the page at you?
Yeah. What jumped off the page was, and I didn't bet the fight. Rodriguez winning a decision. It's like what?
Oh my God, I
I,
know.
I picked Rodriguez to win the fight, but I picked him to win by like first round knockout. You know, if you would have told me that Rodriguez was going to win by decision, I would have called you like crazy. I mean, that was wild. So big ups to Gregory Rodriguez for out fluffying Fluffy. I mean, that was just crazy. But it was my lightest card of the year, and I was very, very pleased with how it played out. Finished up almost 3 units, smashed the under in the Jack
Beautiful.
McVeigh Schultz fight, and I was feeling horrible about that bet 4 minutes in, and then boom, Jax McVeigh landed a knee to the body. The party is over. The party's canceled. Everybody go home. Got to cash the under 1.5 there, and then I took Carly Judice inside the distance at plus 130. I didn't want to get cute and take Judice KO 2-3. Didn't want to get cute and take the late round props. I just took Judice inside the distance, and that came home. And the only loss of the night was the fight ends by sub in the DeRidder-Delidze fight. And I love the read, and the fight played out exactly how I thought. Delidze would pull guard, play footsies, but instead of subbing Delidze, he kind of just pounded him out. So up almost 3 units on a card where I had about 4.5 units of action. So I was very happy with how that played out. Yeah.
Beautiful, man. I will say, congrats on that Carly Judice call, because I have been like driving the train for Carly Judice. I'm such a big fan of hers, and I am even underestimating her. Like, I thought this was going to be the one where the fight got extended. I thought this was going to be the one where she'd get pushed a little bit. I can't believe she won that thing in round 1. Like, she's even better than I thought she was, and I'm really high on her. So that was exciting. And then, I got to tell you, man, I keep missing my own fades. I wanted to bet Shamil Gaziev against Kennedy Nizuchukwu. I've been saying forever that heavyweight's not going to fix that chin. You know what I mean? He's out there pretending to be Anderson Silva, and Gaziev just goes, okay, thump, and like puts him down. It was one of the funniest knockouts I think I've seen in a long time. So that was fun, but one of those gotta trust the read type of situations. Happy to see Jackson McVeigh get the dub. That was fun. I thought he was going to win by sub, but KO will do just fine. And then I will say I was impressed with Chanel Dyer, man. I talked about, thank God, didn't pull the trigger on the over 2.5, because I thought that fight was going to go the 15 minutes. And frankly, it looked like it was gonna, but then about the last minute or so of the second round, Dyer just started pouring it on. She's going to be fun, man. That was an impressive fight from her, and really a really strong showing for her to get the finish the way she did against Elise Reed in the third round, I felt like.
Yeah, actually kind of upset. I called the KO 3. I was looking at the KO 2-3. Was looking at the over 1.5. I didn't play anything there. And same thing with the Gaziev. I was looking at Gaziev KO 1. So me keeping it extremely light kind of bit me in the butt a little bit. But I was happy with up about 3 units. But it could have been like you. It could have been like a 10-unit night if I would have pulled the trigger more.
Yeah, we're in the same boat, man. The last 2-3 events in a row, if I had just pulled every trigger that I've been talking about,
Right.
I'd be sitting on piles right now. But I can't complain. We got to be happy with what we got. And man, this week we might not want to go crazy. This might be the week for a little bit of caution. So let's get into it, everybody. UFC Shanghai always reminds me of like Shanghai Noon, the old movie with Owen Wilson and Jackie Chan. If you guys haven't seen that one, I know I'm dating myself. It's hilarious. Go watch it. It's fantastic. Welcome into the chat, everybody. Hit that like button and let's go ahead and talk some fights. First fight of the night, we have got the return of Meng Ding. He is taking on Cam Nelson. Should be a fun one here, Brady. I don't know if you recall, but Meng Ding was like one of the most popular bets on his UFC debut in the community. Absolutely everybody was on this guy for his first fight under the UFC banner. He lost his Dana White's Contender Series fight by split decision, and then he makes his UFC debut and cost a lot of people a lot of money. So he's 0-2 so far under the UFC banner. He's got insane experience. Like, he's got a ton of fights, man. We're talking 45 professional fights, 28 wins by knockout. he's fought a really low level of competition. And I think that's kind of starting to show here at the UFC that, like, if you give him a mid-tier guy, somebody who's fringe UFC and who's willing to step forward and bang, like, that's the guy that Meng Ding will bring the noise against. But if you got somebody with footwork, if you've got somebody with speed, with a good jab, he's going to have a hard time finding that big power shot that wins him all of these fights. And when I mean big power, like, you guys should see this guy before he made it to the UFC.
英猛啊！又出奇道再次的飞袭，闪拦，先拦后手，后手打了，双方的会中决吗？会中决吗？才叫中。
He was just plastering people until he got here, man. I will say he suffers from Chris Curtis syndrome. I've diagnosed him with Chris Curtis syndrome, and he's just a guy who is so heavy on his feet that doesn't know how to cut off the cage, that if he's got a willing participant, if he's got a dance partner, then he can crack. But if you're not going to play his game, he's in trouble. Cam Nelson, 7-1, 28 years old. This is his UFC debut. He's coming out of Niagara Top Team. So Canada hasn't been great lately for my brothers to the north. You know, we got a lot of friends of the show that are from Canada, and I don't want to be too insulting, but it's been a little dip in the competition level from there. So I'm not sure how excited I should be about this guy coming from Canada. He's only been fighting professionally for about 3 years, Brady. Like, this is a very, very quick step up to the UFC based on when he went pro. I found one of his amateur fights when I was like digging for tape study and stuff like that, and I thought it was an error because I was like, wait, this says like 2023. There's no way this is one of his amateur fights, but it is one of his amateur fights. But he is jacked. This guy is in crazy good shape. I mean, physically, he's built like an athlete. So maybe he's got like a background or something that I missed that he, kind of led him here. And he's like a football player. You know how we've got these guys that are transitioning to MMA now. They're pre-roided up before they ever made it to their UFC lives, something like that. He does look like he's a bit of a bully, very active with like his lead hand. And then he's got a big right cross. He's a good grappler, big, strong, kind of bullies people around the cage. He doubles up on the jab and then he steps in with that right cross. That's really his money shot. He looks to put people away with that thing. But it looks like he's coming out of a really rough show with poor competition. You look at the run of his opponents he's facing. His best guy that he beat was 13-7, which is like, okay, winning record, but 2-3, 2-2, 2-4. And then you watch the video, and even the guy that's got the winning record, he's like short and flabby that it's like, man, like you shouldn't be having this guy in a cage. So I feel like Cam Nelson might just be being flown across the world to do a job here, man. I am tempted to go back to the well with Meng Ding. It looks like some money is coming in on him. He was like minus 140-ish a day or two ago. He's minus 155 now. So people are betting on Meng Ding. I don't think Cameron Nelson is real, Brady. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know that he's a real fighter. I'm going to get bumper stickers that say Cam Nelson is not real. I'm a denier. Yeah, I might be leaning with Meng Ding to come back and save us all as the hometown kid for the first fight of the night. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, I'll save everybody. I mean, don't bet this fight, man. I mean, this is the 1-800 gambler fight of a lifetime. You know, Cam Nelson, I agree with everything you said. This guy, I think, has a probably one of the most fraudulent records we've ever seen. You know, he's fought complete bums. Went back and watched his last couple fights. He's fighting 40-year-olds. He fought like a 38-year-old who fought as low as at bantamweight, and he's fighting at welterweight. Like, Cam Nelson, I don't know what the hell the matchmakers are thinking here, bringing him in. So, I get a lot of people are betting on Ding Meng. I get that, but at the same time, Ding Meng is just a Chinese heavy bag. I mean, I don't know what he's good at other than, getting hit in the face and coming forward. I mean, this guy's the definition of a marauder. So I'm looking at it like you got somebody who's ass versus somebody who's butt. Do you want to bet the butt or do you want to bet the ass? And the ass is at minus 140, minus 155 now. So for me, I'm passing. I don't want to bet a potential fraud in Cam Nelson, and I most definitely don't want to lay chalk on a Chinese heavy bag in Ding Meng. So I have zero interest in betting this fight. I have zero interest in watching this fight. Unfortunately, I will be watching it because I'll be doing the fight companion. But I'm actually going to be contrarian, and I'm going to take the fraud. I'm going to take the fraud to go out there and beat the heavy bag, because at least with the fraud, I was watching his fights, and I was like, yeah, he's got some solid hands. He's got some solid power. He's got some fast hands. Whereas with the heavy bag, it's like he's a heavy bag. So I'm going to pick Cam Nelson, but And I'm not betting on a fraud. Like I even, the reason I liked Judice so much last week is because I thought Chavez is a potential fraud. And you look at Chavez before she came into the Contender Series, nothing but 0-0 fighters, 0-0 fighters, fighting in malls, fighting in elementary school gymnasiums. I don't like betting and picking frauds, but and I won't be here. So this is the biggest pass I think I've ever seen in my entire life. But a lot of people are on Ding Ming, and this line's moving. When I broke this fight down a couple days ago, it was at a straight pick 'em. And like you said, this line's getting obliterated.
Yeah, it's getting blasted. And honestly, man, I see. I know this is the 1-800 gambler spot, but I am the 1-800 gambler that we're talking about. So I might pull that trigger, man. I might jump on Meng Dang. I really feel like the UFC is showing out for China for this one. They are ready to convert to communism here. They're wanting these boys to win and get their hand raised at home. And Meng Ding lost on Contender. He lost in his debut. And Xi Jinping showed up at Dana White's house and was like, "You better get my boy a win." I think that's what's happening here. So I might bite on this favorite price tag, no matter how gross that sounds. Because frankly, I'm not sure Cam Nelson's ever been hit. Like, you look at his record and what little tape we can find of him in this fraudulent, prospect place that he was in. What am I looking for? Organization. This fraudulent organization that he's fighting in. I don't think anybody's touched him. So I really think Meng Ding is going to be the first guy that ever taps him on the jaw. And when you get these fighters that have these shiny records and it's the first time they've ever faced adversity, that's when you find out whether or not they're real. And I think he's not going to like it. So I'm this close, Brady. The more expensive it gets, the less I like it. But I'm this close.
Yeah, man, he's tough. I mean, you have to be tough to be a heavy bag, and he's tough.
It's true. It's true. Nothing wrong with being the heavy bag. I was just gonna say, did you see Jose Medina got a win over the weekend? Good for him, except he speed ran CTE in the UFC, so he immediately assaulted the referee after getting his first win outside the organization. And what are you gonna do with these guys, man? What are you gonna do? All right, let's keep it rolling, everybody. Next up, I didn't flip the damn tab over. What is the matter with me? We are talking Jingnan Yang, the Panda, and she takes on Julia Polastri. Brady, I love me some Polastri. You guys know Polastri has absolutely been my girl, and we cashed out hard on her. Not last fight, but the one before that with the 9-1 KO prop when I finally got my white whale. I finally got Carolina by knockout.
And just look at the target areas as well. Head kick wobbles her. This could be it. Pavlovich needs to cover up. Get off the fence. Here from Polastri. Polastri goes.
Man, she's 28 years old. She's 2-3 so far in the UFC. I was so stoked on that win. I'm like, this is it. She turned the corner. She's ready now. She's heading up the freaking rankings here. And then she lost to Talita Alankar. I just immediately all the wind out of the sails. Like, what are you doing, girl? I will say I disagreed with the decision. I actually went back and I looked at you look at MMA decisions and you can see what the experts in the community and stuff like that scored the fights. It's about 50-50. It was kind of a split decision-esque type of fight, but all three judges cage side had the exact same score. So it's a unanimous decision for Talita Alankar, even though I thought that Polastri won. And even if she lost, I felt like it should have been a split decision or something like that. But all three judges went the other way. I'm not going to hold it against her too much, but it definitely poured some cold water on me about how she's going to look moving up the rankings here. She's a bully, man. She's physical. She's strong. She's mean. That's one thing I like about her. She's got really hard kicks. You saw the head kick that she started that combo off with against Carolina. She likes to stay in the pocket, and she's got a really nasty clinch. Big elbows, big knees. She just never stops walking forward. Every once in a while, she'll throw some, loopy shots, but she's very durable. She's got good cardio. And again, round 3 TKO against Carolina. So she can kind of break you. She can make you fade. We've been riding her to the bank for quite some time. We hit the money line in her Dana White's Contender Series fight. We had the spread when she fought Loopy. We hit the money line and the KO against Carolina. So she's been paying us out pretty well for the most part, even though she's only 2-3 in the UFC. Now, Jingnan is 19-3. She is 38 years old. She's an old lady. his grandma coming over to the UFC. Second fight under the UFC banner. In her first fight, Angie, my girl Angie Overkill, whooped that ass. That was another one that I knew they wanted Jingnan to come over and get a win. And she's got a lot of accolades pre-UFC. So I was a little too scared to pull the trigger. But I was like, man, this really feels like an Angie spot. And I didn't quite get to the window. And Angie put a clinic on her. She put up 122 significant strikes to this chick's 68. She was the first ever Chinese world champion in MMA. She used to fight at atomweight back in 1. So she was the inaugural strawweight champion. She defended that thing 7 times. Like, she's good. Don't get me wrong. Like, she's got some skills, but it seems like she's old and the game has passed her. She started boxing at 18 years old. She represented China internationally back in the day boxing. She's got good power in her hands. She's got 10 wins by KO, which you guys know it's tough to do in women's MMA. She's kind of got that hunched boxing stance. She likes to dive forward into the pocket, rolls well with hooks. She chucks that big overhand right, and she likes to kind of chip away with kicks, and then she'll throw a flying knee every once in a while. She is aggressive. She does have good balance, but I've seen her give her back up a couple of times. We saw Angie have success taking her down. So this is a fight where, honestly, Brady, I got to still just pick with Julia Polastri because I think this chick is too old. I think the game is past her. But I hate this number. It's minus 250 for Julia Polastri, plus 210 the comeback on Jingnan. And I got to tell you, as much as I love Julia Polastri and I've done real well betting on her so far, I don't think she's a chalk fighter. She's not. I want her at plus money. I want her at even money. You know what I mean? I don't want to be sweating a split decision out here because she's the kind of person who's going to walk forward and throw heavies. If she goes to the ground, she's got a huge advantage here. But if she refuses to shoot takedowns, this fight might look really close. So I kind of hate it. I'm going to pick Polastri to get the win here. We're in enemy territory. We are in China. We're dealing with a relatively low fight IQ fighter here in Julia Polastri, who never fights to her optimal path to victory. So be careful, you guys. In my opinion, be careful. Brady, what are you doing with this one?
Yeah, I mean, I hate it too. And the sad thing is, I mean, the time to fade Zhang Jingyang was in her last fight against Angela Hill, because Angela Hill was like plus 150 or something. It was crazy. I mean, there's a lot of hype on Zhang Jingyang. People were hyping her up all week. She was, champion in 1. People were all over Zhang that week, and Hill's a big dog. And I truly believe if this fight was before the Hill fight, we'd be getting a much different line. And Polastri might even be the underdog if that Hill fight never happened. The problem is, the Hill fight happened, and Zhang Jingyang looked awful. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a worse debut. I'm talking worse than Patchy Mix making his debut against Batista. I mean, it was such a bad debut. She had all that hype, and all the hype completely died. It was an awful performance. I mean, she looked just terrible in that fight. And what rubbed me the wrong way was she was showboating the entire time. She was getting her ass kicked the entire time, and she was showboating. Every time Angela Hill landed something, she'd say, no, no, no. No, no, no. And she did it the entire fight. No, no, no. No, no, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? No, no, no. You're getting your ass kicked, Zhang Jingyang. Like, what are you doing? What do you do? Why are you showboating? You're losing 30-27. I mean, it was such a bad look. I mean, she made Angela Hill look like prime Angela Hill, and Angela Hill's like 42. So, Zhang Jingyang, she's 38 at the end of the day. She has like 1 or 2 wins in the last 4 years. So I think it's got to be Polastri being the favorite, but I also didn't love Polastri's last performance against Alencar, where she just really never got going. She really never put her foot on the gas pedal, which is not like, Polastri. Polastri, she's a psycho. That's her nickname. She comes forward like a psycho. She didn't really let that psycho out. If she goes out there and kind of fights us like she did against Alencar, I do think it's going to be a very close fight, but, Polastri's younger, massive advantage in the clinch, massive advantage in the ground. So, yeah, I think Polastri's got to be the favorite, but she's a slow starter. Minus 230, all the way up to minus 260. I just think a lot can go wrong. Plus, Zhang Jingyang's going to be the hometown fighter in a fight that probably goes the distance. I don't love the price tag, but there's no way I can take Zhang Jingyang after what she did in her last fight. It was just such a bad look. So I'm going Polastri, but they're pricing me out of it a bit.
Yeah, we're in the same boat here, man. One thing I will say is I might look at, like, when the spreads drop, if I can get a plus 3.5 on Jingnan, something like that, I might be interested in that, because they flew her across the country to fight my girl Angie Overkill, right? Like now we are in her backyard. So they're giving her a second crack at it. They're dropping the competition level. She's fighting somebody who's much, much easier to face, who doesn't have the skills of, an Angie Overkill. Angie knows what to do in an extended fight. She can go a hard 15 minutes at the highest level. I honestly believe that Angie would give a champion a tough fight, right? Like she'll fight up to her level of competition, even though she'll lose a split decision. She always fights to the level of her competition. Polastri, not so much. So she's getting a break in competition and she's in her backyard. It's going to make, no travel, no hangover, no nothing. She'll be able to, you know what? Actually, now that I say that, it was Song versus Cejudo. That was in Macau. So maybe she didn't have that much travel. I'm giving her too much credit. Never mind. She was in her backyard twice. Never mind. Fuck that. Forget everything I just said. She's been in China for both of these fights. Never mind. What's up, Narco? We got Narco Cop MMA hanging out. How you doing, buddy? Appreciate you. I have not listened to you and our boy Olivas break down the Dana White's Contender Series card yet. I do after this show. I start looking into Dana White's Contender Series after I'm done with my own podcast on Monday. So I'll be tuning into that a little bit later this evening. Appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Anyway, forget it. So never mind. Scratch that. Yeah, we're picking Polastri. I just, don't love the number. We already covered that, so I don't need to repeat myself. We'll move on. Next up, Lawrence Louis taking on Louis. Is that Louis? Lawrence Lee? I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
Louis. Yeah,
is it Louis? All right. Lawrence Louis taking on Hector Santiago in the next fight. Couple of guys that I was not familiar with, man. Lawrence is 8-1, 30 years old. He won the Road to UFC 4 finale by split decision on that UFC 325 card. If you guys remember, I boycotted that. I hate the Road to UFC, Brady. These guys are bums. They don't belong in the UFC. They let them fight each other because they can't hang with the bare level UFC talent from anywhere else in the world. They're complete ass. And so people were asking me, they're like, Clint, are you gonna do a Road to UFC breakdown? Because if you remember, we had like back-to-back events, right, where it was like a full Road to UFC card and then a UFC card, which if you're an MMA fan, great, more action, love it. I was like, you want me to sit through an entire Road to UFC card? Fuck that shit. I'm not taping it. I'm not working on it. We're boycotting this. So no, I had no idea. I watched his UFC fight. He's like nothing but a wrestler, man. First, as soon as that bell rings, he's like diving on legs from like 10 feet away. Doesn't set it up. He's just desperation trying to hustle his way to the ground. He did look like he was tough. He took a couple of big shots in that fight. And when he had to, he would bite down on the mouthpiece and swing back hard to kind of get the respect and stuff like that. He ended up just kind of covering up and stalking his opponent. I mean, like walking at him like this. So he couldn't get hit and then get into range where he would try to go ahead and hit takedowns. I don't know. Watching back that fight, I'm honestly shocked they gave him the split decision. I have a hard time being like, you got punched up for at least 13 minutes of that fight and then shot takedowns. And he hit one or two big ones in return. But it was like, man, I felt like the volume was way against him. I'm really just not sure how he won that fight. He does have good durability. He does have good gas, good cardio, willingness to throw. I don't think he's any good. Hector Santiago on the flip side of this thing, 6-1, 33 years old. He's making his UFC debut off of Money Moicano 1, you guys. This man fought in Moicano's organization before he got the call up to the UFC, and he won by knockout.
Moleque, 48.000, vamos bater 50. Bom dia.
He caught a body, man. Now, he's got some other experience, too. He fought on Karate Combat. He got knocked out. He fought in Thunder Fight Series. He got choked out by a guy that's 13-7. Like, this guy is straight ass, Brady. Like, this is a terrible, terrible fight. Last week, we had another one of these guys. We're now 2 events in a row where they're signing some fucking jobber who comes from bare knuckle, or they've got like 5, they do kickboxing, they do bare knuckle, and they've got mixed rules MMA, and then they make their UFC debut. And it's like, well, but they've got 22 fights worth of experience. They've got all these different organizations they've fought. They've got to be good, right? And then they get their ass whooped in the UFC. We've had back-to-back weeks where that's happened. This is the 3rd one in a row. This guy is 33 years old. He is beating up bums, and Moicano is giving him low balls so that he can get highlights in his organization. Now that he's moving up to the UFC, he ain't going to last. The problem is, Brady, I am trying my best. I am trying so hard not to fade shit with shit. And that's exactly what this fight is. Frankly, I don't even want to give you guys a pick because I don't give a fuck. Like, Lawrence is ass. Hector Santiago is worse. I will pick Lawrence. He's a minus 300 favorite. You will never catch me dead laying minus 300 on one of these road to UFC bums making their UFC debut, Brady. So I think Lawrence might hustle his way to a victory here, but again, it's going to be wrestling heavy. Both these guys suck. Lawrence, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I mean it's a weird one because I'm I don't think Santiago's complete ass. I would say he's ass. Because I do think his striking's decent, kickboxing background, forward pressure, comes forward, has a lot of power in his hands. And I actually think if this fight took place on the feet for 15 minutes, Santiago would be extremely live. Because I'm watching some of Louis' fights, and it's like this guy's a city kickboxing guy, right? He just at some of his fights, he doesn't look comfortable on the feet. He's getting hurt in a lot of these fights. I don't think he has the best chin, Lawrence Louis. So what he does is a lot of wrestling, which we don't see a ton from the city kickboxing guys, but he wrestles, and he actually wrestles a lot. He wrestled 7 times, 7 takedowns in his debut. On another road to UFC fight, he actually got 6 takedowns. So he's a city kickboxing striker who's looking to actually wrestle, and he's a good wrestler at that, and he's a good grappler. He's a BJJ brown belt. So I think for Louis to go out there and look minus 300, he's going to have to do exactly that. Take this kickboxer down. And if he does that, he should, in theory, have a significant advantage. You mentioned it. Santiago got submitted by some bum a couple fights ago. So I think the path is there. And I think people are, seeing that path. The Lawrence Louis submission prop opened up at plus 600, which is annoying because, the books are getting so sharp. Like a couple years ago, that would open up 16 to 1. I mean, this is a city kickboxing striker who has 0 subs on his record. They're opening up the sub prop at plus 600, and it still got smashed. It's all the way down to plus 375, which is annoying because I do think the sub is live. It could turn out Santiago is a complete 0 on the mat, and Louis can take him down, use that BJJ brown belt, and get the sub. So I was planning on maybe sprinkling the sub at a much, much bigger number, but people are all over it. So I think people are kind of seeing what I'm seeing and seeing that massive grappling advantage. If he for some reason goes out there and tries to swing dicks with Santiago, this line's just plain wrong, simple as that. But if he goes out there and fights smart and wrestles, that's where he has the opportunity to look minus 300. So I don't think I'll be betting on this fight. I thought the sub was sneaky, but apparently not because everybody's on it, it looks like.
Yeah. You and me are seeing it kind of the same way, and especially if they're going to chalk that number down like that, man, I'm not touching it. I'm not playing plus 400 sub prop on this bum. Maybe he does go out there and get it.
On a kickboxer, plus 400 on a kickboxer? Come on.
Sad. It's sad, man. The book, it's disgusting what the bookies have done to us. Like, MMA used to be fish in a barrel, man. I know people, like, the last couple of years, again, you guys, full admission, right? I do everything publicly. I've been getting my ass whooped, Brady. I've been just donating for the last 2 years. But before that, you wind back 5 years, and it's like I'd lose 2 events in a row, and then I'd hit for 30 units. And it was just like, it was so easy because something would be a sub prop, like you're saying. I used to get Ryan Spann by sub at 12 to 1, and it was like, oh, it was so easy.
Clint, I back in the day, I got Vicente Luque by sub against Michael Chiesa, who loves to get subbed at 14 to 1. 14 to 1.
Oh my God. And now you're looking at like women's MMA, like this past week, Carly Judice round 3 is like plus 450. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you can't even get a little meat on the bone because and again, you say sharp, but they're just flattening out everything at this point, making it hard for us to gamble on it. So it's tough, man. It is tough. I miss the old days for sure. The Wild West was fun. Let's keep it rolling though, man. We've got Jack Jenkins, and he is welcoming back Sean the Sniper Woodson. This is a really interesting fight, man, because there was a weird part of me that legitimately thought Sean Woodson had retired. We haven't seen him in like a year and a half. He's 31 years old, And he's coming off a loss to Danny Ige. And it's funny because I cashed a KO ticket on Danny Ige that night. I was waiting for that spot. I loved it. I knew Danny Ige was going to get the KO. And then it's been so long. I went back to like rerun that fight to like refresh my memory. And I thought it was a bad knockout. I thought it was a really bad knockout. It was a bad stoppage. he was like shelled up and like recovering and like running away, but he was still all there. And the ref waved it off anyway, and he was perfectly fine as soon as the fight got stopped. That I was like, oh shit, like I remembered this completely incorrectly. So I feel like I almost got a little bit lucky in hindsight looking back on it. I have for a long time said that Sean Woodson is chinny. He's been hurt in every single one of his fights. You know, this guy is like 6'2" or some shit, and he cuts all the way down to 145. He has stick thin legs. He has no meat on the bone. He first started doing combat sports at heavyweight. He was like a big old fluffy guy. I have no idea how he got as skinny as he is, but he's fragile. You know, we've seen him get wobbled by a lot of guys. So I knew in my soul that the KO was coming. But again, it still technically kind of hasn't come. He got rocked and the ref jumped in the way of it. So he still has never been flatlined. That was the only KO loss of his career. He's long. He's got good boxing. And honestly, man, when he catches people on the end of those punches, he does damage.
However, Padilla.
Oh, my goodness. Wobbles hard. Woodson sits him down and hands his victory.
You really can't mess with this guy in his boxing range. You look back on his resume, he's got a win back in the day over Youssef Zalal that's aging like really well. He got rocked by Jourdain, but he managed to beat him. I mean, I've kind of talked trash on the guy. I've never really been super high on him, but he finds ways to win. So he's coming off a loss. He's coming off a long layoff. He's 34 years old, and he gets Jack Jenkins. Now, Jenkins is 14-4. He's 32. He is 4-2 so far in the UFC, and we know this guy just has brutal calf kicks. I mean, he mixes up his attacks really, really well. He's always working the body. He's always fighting in combinations. He's got that power left side kick. He just kicks like a horse, and he's broken multiple people's legs. I mean, literally, you guys, he has, I think, 3 people who he's like cracked or fractured their legs from these leg kicks. He kicks harder than anybody right now. He's got good hips on like initial takedown defense, but his grappling defense and his submission defense have always been his Achilles heel. He's got 3 losses by sub. Now, thank God, I don't think there's going to be much grappling here in this fight against Sean Woodson, who's a boxer, who's a long striker. But Jack Jenkins is a guy who's going to be dealing with a height and reach disadvantage. I'm not going to let that stop me, Brady. I'm going to keep the fade train rolling here, man. This is my Link Memorial Dog of the Week. I've already pulled the trigger on Jack Jenkins at plus 125. I saw plus 130 dangling out there, and I was like, you know what? I think I will bet Jack Jenkins, but let me run the tape first. By the time I got through with the tape and knew I wanted to bet Jack Jenkins, it had already dropped 5 points. So I needed to dive in immediately. I got plus 125. I'm ready to rock here on this one, man. I can't wait to see what Jack does to those skinny little legs. I don't think that Sean Woodson is going to be able to put up with the damage that Jack causes with those leg kicks. Now, I will say, you're going to be in tight. The counter to the leg kick is a straight punch. But frankly, I think Sean Woodson's going to have a hard time doing that, because he's got such long arms. When people crowd him, when they get in the pocket with him, he's only ever throwing like these little hooks in tight here because his arms are so damn long. He'd be like throwing past your head. He won't be able to throw straight shots on Jack Jenkins if he's crowding him. I think you crowd the kicker. I'm sorry, you crowd the long guy, back him up, push him up to the cage, beat the shit out of his legs. Give me Jack Jenkins. I think he's going to be the first one to legitimately TKO Sean Woodson on Saturday.
I like the confidence, man. Yeah, I mean, Sean Woodson hasn't fought in so long. I mean, the last time he fought was UFC 314 in Miami. I was actually at that card, and I remember being at that fight and being very intoxicated. I was probably $10-$30 beers deep. And earlier that day, we went to Bacon Bitch, and they were bringing everybody shots at like 9 in the morning. Miami's crazy, by the way, and I really want to go back. But anyway, I was watching the fight, and we were like, the round 2 ends, and I'm like, screw this, man. Dan Igue's down 2. I thought Dan Ige was down 2 rounds. I thought Dan Ige was down 2 rounds, and I was drunk, so maybe I was, my vision was, wrong. But I left. I went to take a pee, and I was like, Dan Ige lost this fight. He didn't show up tonight. And then I'm taking a pee, and I just hear roaring from the crowd. I'm like, did Dan Ige get knocked out? And I checked my phone, Danny Gay KO. I'm like, yes, because I cashed a nice Danny Gay KO bet as well there. So that was awesome. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. You know, you move the line. I mean, you're on a hot streak. Went from plus 130 to plus 119. This line's continuing to come down.
Ooh, it's plus 119 now
on Bet Online. Yeah, and I think there's
I
good
didn't
reason.
even look.
Yeah, it's coming in. Yeah, you brought up the leg kicks. The leg kicks are such a path here. You know, Jack Jenkins honestly has some of the best leg kicks in the division. I remember first taping this guy and just watching back to back to back nasty leg kick knockouts. Jack Jenkins' leg kicks are legit, and I've been waiting, Clint. I've been waiting for somebody to kick the legs of Sean Woodson. For the love of God,
right?
Somebody kick this guy's legs, please. Nobody does it. Nobody. Jack Jenkins is going to do it, Clint. And then I've also been waiting for somebody to take down Sean Woodson. Nobody does it. I think Jack Jenkins can mix in a takedown or two as well. So I do think this could be a close fight. You know, Sean Woodson, he's one-dimensional, but he's very good at what he does, and that's the boxing. He's going to have a big height advantage, a big reach advantage, and he uses that length really well. So I could see Sean Woodson maybe, you know, boxing him up over the course of 15 minutes, but I could also see Jack Jenkins landing some big leg kicks, mixing in the occasional takedown, and maybe even getting a finish or even winning a decision, you know, with the damage to those legs. So yeah, for me, it's dog or pass as well. We're lining up.
All right. I'm glad to hear you and I are on the same page on this one. I've got a couple friends who disagree with me on this one. Kind of had me nervous a little bit. I like that the line is continuing to come in our way. And I like that you're saying seeing the same kind of things that I am here on this one, man, because I want to see, like you said, I want someone to just beat the shit out of his legs. There's no meat there. So those nerves are toast.
Yeah, please, somebody do it. Jack, please do. I've been waiting years for this to happen. So let's see.
I know, right? Do you remember the Luis Saldana fight?
Yeah, I remember. That was crazy. That was the fight where he almost got knocked out, right?
In the first round. He was done. He was cooked. And then Saldana adrenaline dumped because he celebrated the win, but the ref didn't actually stop it. And then Sean Woodson comes back and whoops his ass for the rest of the fight and ends up winning it. I think that's where my unhealthy hatred of Sean Woodson comes from, because I bet Luis Saldana that night. And I think I've always had that I'm going to get him back mentality because of that night. So come on, Jack. Get it done for the boys. All right. Next up, we have got Long Xiao taking on Francesco Nuzzi. And if you guys recall, I started this show off by telling you about the multiple dick kick offenders. And Long Xiao may be the number one offender on this card. At 28 years old, he is just 1-3 in his last 4 fights here in the UFC. He lost the road to UFC Singapore finale, which if you are fighting in road to UFC and you lose, you're on my shit list. I've never thought jack about Long Xiao, but in his last fight, he got the ghost of Cody Garbrandt, Brady. The ghost of Cody Garbrandt, who the UFC is limping along. They're rolling his old carcass out there, praying that somebody can take him out, hoping to get just a little bit of shine on a guy like Long Xiao. Because I'll admit, Long Xiao is fun to watch fight. He's a bit of a wild man. You know, he comes out there and he mixes it up. Decent volume. He put up 106 significant strikes in his road to UFC fight. He does dig to the body. He's got a good Muay Thai clinch. He's a fun guy to watch, and he's extremely hittable. So he's like a highlight waiting to happen. I get it. He was up 2 rounds to none on Cody Garbrandt. He's up 20-18, and we are headed into round 3. And he kicked Cody Garbrandt in the dick. Not once, not twice, 3 times, Brady.
I don't know. I think it's so stupid.
Oh, man.
Boy, the toes.
I mean,
You got him with the toes.
yeah, Joe Rogan will tell you all you need to know about pointing toes. I mean,
He threw up.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, total. Oh, my goodness.
And that toe kick, which you see a
I mean, they played that replay forever, and Cody Garbrandt, poor guy, is on his hands and knees just dry heaving into the cage floor. And Herb took not 1 but 2 points, you guys. 2 points. And somehow the judges actually scored round 3 10-9 for Cody Garbrandt. So it went from he's up and can't possibly lose, even getting a point taken away, he can't possibly lose, to actually losing a split decision to Cody Garbrandt that night. That's what you're dealing with here in Long Xiao. And you know what? he's a favorite. He's minus 180 here. They want you to lay chalk on a guy who just got practically DQ'd from fouls in his last fight. He's taking on Francesco Nuzzi, who's 11-2, 29 years old. He's from the PFL, and it's weird, man. He got like a big step down. Like, he got signed to the PFL. He was supposed to have fights in Bellator, never did, and now he's fighting in Cage Warriors. Like, he goes back to the regional show. It's like he didn't want to get re-signed by PFL. I don't know if he bet on himself trying to get to the UFC or like what happened there, but it's just weird. You never see people go backwards that way. But so he fights in the Cage Warriors promotion, and he's making his UFC debut. You guys are not going to believe this. Off a no contest due to a groin shot. This has to be intentional, Brady. How in the hell can this guy make his UFC debut off a groin shot no contest against Long Xiao of all people? The UFC is they've got a sense of humor. Don't tell me the matchmakers don't have a sense of humor over there. But it was crazy because in that fight, again, the no contest groin shot, dude, he gets dropped like 1 minute and 30 seconds in. He's crazy aggressive. He storms forward, and the dude just hit him with a counter and put him on his ass. He does keep a measured pace. He likes to stand directly in front of his opponents. He does have a nice straight 1-2. He's got a big, hard step-in front kick that he likes to go to. But he's a brawler. He's just willing to engage, bite down on the mouthpiece, and throw. He is clean. He does have nasty elbows. That's something I noticed here. Man, this is fade city for me. If I'm doing anything, I'm betting against Long Xiao. I know you probably don't want to bet against China in China, but Nuzzi at plus 150, I'm like, dude, this guy, he hits hard. He's willing to brawl. We know Long Xiao is hittable, and I like the Muay Thai. I lean dog or pass here, man. I'm never laying minus 180 on a guy who lost on road to UFC.
Yeah, I'm not going to give a pick because I still need to look more into Nuzzi, but I'll defend Long Xiao a little bit. I had a bet on Chung Ho Lee that night, and I thought Long Xiao beat him. I scored the fight for Long Xiao, so I would argue that, you know, I thought he beat Chung Ho Lee. Chung Ho Lee is actually pretty good. So, and then let's be real. Long Xiao won every single round against Cody Garbrandt. I don't know how you can even give Cody Garbrandt a round. I think he still should have won the fight. And even the Su Young Yu fight was very close as well. So I think Long Xiao is decent. He's not incredible anywhere. He's a super tough guy. His takedown defense is very good. He can eat a shot clearly. But yeah, he's not going to really knock your socks off. So yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, he's not a guy you want to lay minus 180 on. So I totally get that. But I do need to look more into Nuzzi. And if this guy, if he's legit, maybe plus money makes sense. But I got to look more into him.
Okay. Fair enough. Shout out my man Ari in the chat, says, my favorite show. I listen to a lot of different podcasts because of your guest list. My man, I love to hear that, because really that was that was a big part of how I got going. I started off and I just networked and I made friends, and I get a lot of people on this show. And, we've had a lot of people on the podcast who sell picks and stuff like that. They give you guys content for free because they come hang out with me for an episode. And I'm always trying to pump up my guests and get you guys to discover people and stuff like that. So it warms the cockles of my heart that worked. And you're discovering some other content creators around the space because of listening to my podcast, man. Thank you very much for listening. And while we're on the topic, you guys, make sure you're checking out our boy Brady here. I know he's a regular around these parts, so 99% of you guys are going to know him and probably already follow him. But if you don't, make sure you get in there. Man Cave MMA just stopping by. What's up, buddy? I appreciate the hell out of you. He says, when will we see Dan from Half the Battle on as a guest again? And I will tell you, Man Cave, Dan and I are having a little bit of scheduling issues. We're going to have to wait until daylight savings time rolls, which is going to be like, I think it's the first week of November. Once daylight savings rolls, I'm in Arizona. We don't move. It's weird. The show goes from 7:30 p.m. Eastern to the other way, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, I think. Yeah. So yeah, we get an hour shift whenever daylight savings goes. And Dan said that we might be able to get him on after that transition takes place because of his Monday schedule. So trust me, he's already on the list. We're trying to get it done. It's just a matter of figuring it out. We'll get him back one of these days. Next up, everybody, we have got Ray Tsuruya taking on Kevin Borjas. Ray Tsuruya, Brady, is my new favorite Asian. I love this kid. I am so hyped on this kid. I think he's a big deal. I think he's going to be incredible. I think the UFC knows what they've got. They're bringing him along the right way. He's 11-1. He is just 24 years old. And I think I'm allowed to go so far as to say that he is a grappling phenom. And frankly, I think they used this kid as a measuring stick for the UFC champion Josh Van, because there was a fight last year where UFC 313, I was like, what are they doing? Why is Ray Tsuruya fighting Josh Van? You've got two of the youngest, brightest stars in the sport, and you're going to make one of them take a step backwards in this fight. What the fuck are you doing? I think it's because they thought Ray Tsuruya was going to win that fight. We all know Josh Van doesn't really know how to grapple all that much yet. He just walks forward and swings heavies, and we know people have had success taking him down. I honestly believe that the UFC thought Ray could win that fight. So I think they're high on this kid. Ever since he lost that fight, they definitely reeled it back. They're kind of developing him the way that he needs to be developed, but he's coming off of a win against Luis Gurule, and boy, did we have fun with that one.
From Gurule. Cannot accept this. If Gurule goes down,
It's a face crank right now, but that is a tight squeeze.
Oh my goodness, and he wraps up the legs too.
It doesn't matter. Sometimes
That's a
it
face
doesn't
crank
matter.
there.
That is so tight.
It's tight. Jerry, and there it is.
Brady, he never got under the chin. He was on the jaw the entire time with that thing, and he just cranked the shit out of Luis Gurule's head. This kid is nasty. He's extremely creative with his takedowns. He's got such a wide variety of abilities to take the back, to get to the legs, to get his opponents on the ground. This kid is really, really good. He landed 4 takedowns on Josh Van. He racked up 5 minutes of control time in that fight. He didn't get finished, which is kind of a testament just to his durability and his toughness in that fight. He is a road to UFC guy, so there's always an exception, Brady. There's always an exception to the rule. Ray is the exception to the rule, but he's got good control. He's super aggressive. He's got those bully submissions. He's strong. He's really strong, and I think that's going to work for him in the UFC. Now, Kevin Borjas is 11-5. He's 28 years old. He's 2-2 in his last 4 fights, and in his last fight, he rocked everybody in the UFC. Brady, I think this is a public execution. I think the UFC is taking out what Borjas did in his last fight to kind of get back at him here in this one, because he missed weight badly. He came in way overweight, and you could just tell, like, just by looking at the way the guy carried himself. He did that intentionally. Like, that shit was on purpose. He definitely took the advantage. He was a plus 500 underdog, and he ends up pulling off the upset against Lima. Somebody we'll talk about a little bit later. He's honestly not bad. Okay. He has his moments. He hurt Josh Van early when they fought as well. He's got power. He's always kind of pawing that lead hand to get the range, to get his distance going. And then he has really decent takedown defense. He does keep a high shell so you can get to his legs if you need to, but he tries to stay long. He fights pretty well moving backwards. He's got a hard right cross, 72% takedown defense. So this is not a like runaway freight train type of spot, right? Kevin is a decent fighter. This is a legitimate test for Ray Tsuruya. The thing is, I think Ray is going to pass this with flying colors, man. I do think that Kevin is going to come in here and be just on the back foot the entire time. We've seen Ray can take some big shots. He's got a good chin. He doesn't give up on himself. He's a minus 650 favorite now. So he is a big favorite. But I think he's being put in this spot to shine. And I think Kevin is being punished for cheating to get a win in his last fight and keep his UFC job. You know what? I'll bet you, Brady, that even though he won that last fight, I'll bet he gets cut after this one. I don't think the UFC is playing around with this guy. They don't seem to like him very much. Ray for me, Ray by sub.
Yeah. I'm surprised he didn't get cut instantly after that fight. I mean, that was an embarrassment, you know, to the fans, to the UFC. I mean, I've never seen somebody run away as much as Borjas ran away, and he won the fight, it's crazy. But I mean, he was literally sprinting away instead of fighting. He was, you know, on his bike, you know, big time. It was just a horrible look. And I bet you that, you know, Dana, the matchmakers, you know, watched that fight. I bet they were pissed off because, for one, you know, Lima was a prospect that people were excited about. People were loving Lima. And that kind of took a lot of the hype off of Lima, who we'll talk about, I think, next fight. But yeah, I think they're pissed off at Borjas, and they're saying, listen, dude, we're going to send you to China, and we're going to give you Ray Tsuruya, and he's gonna destroy this guy. I mean, you mentioned the takedown defense at 72%, but he's fighting a lot of strikers. He's fighting Imanol Rodrigues, striker, Andre Lima, striker, Sumudaerji, striker, Ronaldo Rodriguez. I don't know what he is. He stinks. Alessandro Costa, striker, Joshua Van, striker. So I don't think his takedown defense is that great. It's not horrible. It's not great, but when he gets taken down, it's bad. Anytime we've seen Kevin Borjas taken down, it is just bad. So I think Ray Tsuruya is going to take him down, and I think he's going to do very, very bad things to him on the mat. One spot that I love this week, and it typically is a spot I would go heavier on, but my goal this week and last week and the week next week for Perez is just to keep it light these next 3-week stretch, kind of go heavy on Noche and 331. But what I love this week is the under 2.5 rounds. I was shocked to see it set at like minus 130 to the under, because I don't think Tsuruya is going to need 12.5 minutes. Quite frankly, I don't think he's going to need 5 minutes here. I mean, he's going to take Borjas down and destroy him. Could be TKO, could be sub. I do want to caution people that they're going to play the sub on Tsuruya, because Tsuruya actually has very good ground and pound. And one thing I want to say about Tsuruya's last fight against Garule, a lot of people think Garule is a bomb, and first of all, he's not a bomb. And second of all, Garule has some of the best anti-grappling out there. Like, his takedown defense is phenomenal. His get-up game's phenomenal. Louis Garule's anti-grappling is on point, and Ray Tsuruya made him look like a bomb. Made Louis Garule look like an absolute bomb on the ground. And I guarantee you, Garule's anti-grappling is 1,000 times better than Borjas's. So I think it's Tsuruya. I think it's Tsuruya round 1. I think it's Tsuruya inside the distance, but Tsuruya inside the distance is minus 135. The under 2.5 is minus 130, which is a better price. And you're also getting, the off chance that maybe Borjas can land a big shot, because we can't ignore that Borjas, he does have a lot of power. I mean, he hurt Imanol Rodriguez, who's tough as nails, badly. Like, most guys would have been knocked out in that instance. He dropped Luis Rodriguez badly, who's very tough as well. So I think it's a striker versus grappler matchup. We could see a Tsuruya sub or TKO. And if for some reason Borjas is able to keep it standing, we could see a knockout. So I like the under. I like the under quite a bit. And I think it's Tsuruya round 1.
I like it, man. I'm glad we're lining up here on this one. And I will tell you guys, as a gambler, like, you should be betting the under, or the fight doesn't go the distance, right? Something like that. But I'm a social media guy. I want the clout. I'm going to bet Ray Tsuruya inside the distance instead. I don't give a fuck, Brady. I need to profess my love. I need to plant my flag. I need people to understand. I'm not just betting violence here. I'm betting on Ray Tsuruya. Yeah, the boys at the UFC saw Kevin Borjas running for his life in the 3rd round against Lima last week, or last fight, and they said, I hope you like rice, buddy. They're like, we're sending you halfway around the world to get your ass whooped by our boy. Shout out my man Tim. We've got both sides of the Lambeau Plays podcast in the chat here today. He says, good takedown defense versus who, though? That's right, 72% takedown defense. The people testing him are Andre Lima, Sumudaerji, Rolando Rodriguez, and Joshua Van. Not notable takedown threats whatsoever. It's race season, baby. Let's go. Next up, we have got Andre Lima, who we were just talking about. He's taking on Namsrai Batbayar. And I don't know who the fuck this is, Brady. You guys, another one of these guys making his UFC debut here, 27 years old, very heavy on his feet. He's got a spearing jab, and I mean that intentionally. Like, the way he steps into that thing, he's looking to hurt people with that jab. It's not just a rangefinder. He's very boxing heavy in his style, throws some spinning heel kicks. He's got a nice uppercut on him. Looks like he's a decent striker, man. He doubles up on the hooks when he gets people backed up and goes to the body. It is fun to watch this guy strike when he's the hammer. He does look good. He does look like he's tough, but the best guy he's beaten, the best record he's faced is 4-0, right? Everybody else is 6-9, 7-6, 2-2. It's another can crusher, you guys. So as much as he looks like he's okay here at 10-1, I'm reading the wrong notes here, you guys. I got to apologize. I got to back that whole thing up. We need to hit the rewind button, start it over completely. That was Rojas. That was Nelson Rojas that I was just talking about. Man, they mixed up the order on me, Brady.
Oh God. Well, I mean, Batbayar's 10-1 too.
He's 10-1. Yeah. But those are the records that Rojas has faced, not the records that Batbayar has faced. Batbayar is a road to UFC guy. So similarly can crushing, right? 100% finish rate, 5 knockout wins, 5 sub wins. Apologize for the mix up here, guys, but he is also a pretty good striker, right? Good right cross, good pull counters, good back takes, really active with his ground and pound. He looks like he's got a really solid rear naked choke on him. So he's a dual threat. He can club you, he can sub you, he can take your back, he can take you down. He throws spinning back fists. He gets crazy. He really does get crazy. His only loss was to Nyman Jargo Tumendembro. So you guys know another UFC caliber guy, a dude that's really tough, really strong. Don't know that we trust him fully, but at least he's, UFC name recognition. That's the only guy that beat this guy. Andre Lima, 27 years old. He gets the cool hat stat boost. He's the guy that got bit in the road to, in his UFC debut, if you guys remember. Well-rounded, good solid pace, very good grappler. And he just kind of marches his opponents down and cooks them over the course of the fight. Borjas was the one who pulled the upset on this guy, and Lima was like trying to challenge him to fight, where Borjas was running away from him in the 3rd round, not really trying to give him, any type of opportunity to get in there and win that fight. I kind of feel like Lima looks bad right now, Brady. I kind of feel like coming off that Borjas fight, even though Borjas was like running from him, it was like, he didn't show shit though. He didn't show an ability to cut the cage off. He didn't show ability to hurt the guy and do damage on him or anything like that. So it's really on him to come out here and make a statement to really prove that he's still got it. He's going to be big in there. He's going to be like 3 inches taller than this guy. So Lima is minus 270 at this point. And I don't know, man, there's something causing me to hesitate here. After seeing what happened against Borjas in his last fight, where he just kind of let it slip through his fingers and had nothing to do but cry about it, I don't want to trust him at minus 270. So I'm fading road to UFC. I'm picking Lima, but I don't think I want to lay this price tag on it, man. What are you doing with this?
No, I don't either. With that said, though, like I do truly think if he went out there and did what everybody thought he was supposed to do to Borjas, I think this line would actually be a lot wider. So I think in a way there is some recency bias, and although he's a big favorite, I kind of think if he won against Borjas in impressive fashion, I think it'd actually be a massive favorite here. And I think it's actually a good matchup for Lima in a sense that, Batbayar is the complete opposite of Borjas. Borjas is going to run away and not look to fight and engage. Batbayar is going to look to be a complete madman, swing his dick, go chin for chin, have no regard for his own safety, and bring the fight to Lima. And it's interesting with Lima because the Borjas fight wasn't the first fight where somebody ran away from him. Mitch Raposo ran away from him for 15 minutes. And on the Contender Series, Rickson Zemedine ran away for 15 minutes. So he's had 3 different opponents run away from him. This Batbayar guy, he's going to come right at him. So I think it's going to be a very fun fight. I think there's a reason money's pouring in on the violence props. Batbayar has never been to decision. Yeah, the money pouring in. He's never been to decision. He's been to the 3rd round once, rarely leaves the 1st round. So I think Batbayar to win this fight, it's got to be in the 1st round because I think his cardio is very poor, and it's going to be poor with his fighting style. He puts 150% into all of his shots. He's dangerous very early, but as the fight goes on, it's going to heavily favor somebody like Andre Lima. So I don't know what I'm doing with this fight yet because I think that Batbayar might be able to, start hot, land some big shots early. But if Lima's able to extend this fight, and I think he does, he should be able to take over and also mix in the grappling potentially, because the one time we did see Batbayar lose, it was against 2 Minute a Barrel, where 2 Minute a Barrel took him down in the 2nd round, tired him out, and choked him out. And Lima's a black belt, and Lima's a very good grappler. And we saw that in the Daniel Perez fight where he mixed in the grappling and choked him out. We saw it in the Felipe Dos Santos fight where he took him down and almost choked him out in the 3rd round twice. So I think the path here for Lima is to fight smart early, mind his P's and Q's, but as the fight goes on, start, wearing him down, mixing in the grappling. And I think if he does that, he could potentially get a finish late here. So, you can't, me personally, you can't lay minus 270 on Lima just because he is, underwhelming in a lot of these fights. But at the same time, I feel like this is a very winnable fight for him. So I don't know if I have any action here. I do like violence, I did like violence, but the fight doesn't go as now minus 210. And for a flyweight fight, you're really paying up. So I don't know. Maybe Lima by sub makes some sense. I think, Lima by sub makes some sense for sure. But outside of that, don't know if I have a ton of interest in this fight. It should be a fun fight, though. It's a Batbayar fight. Every single Batbayar fight is fun.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Tempted on that under 2.5, minus 165 on under 2.5 right about now. If you guys want to buy that extra 2.5 minutes, it gets a little bit more expensive. So picking Lima Batbayar is definitely dangerous. So got to give him his respect with that 100% kill rate. I like Tim's look in the chat where he's saying Lima round 2, round 3. I think that makes some sense with some grappling upside as well. And it's a valid point, man, that if you're not going to run from Lima, he usually ends up being in pretty entertaining fights at that point.
Yep. Shout out to Tim. I wonder if the whisper bet's going to be Lima sub 2-3.
We'll see. We'll find out what that narco whisper bet is this week.
We'll find out Friday.
Gotta love it. All right, guys. Next up, we have got Bilal Hasan, and he is taking on Nelson Rojas. Now, remember everything I just said in that previous breakdown? Apply that here, please. I was talking about Nelson Rojas, 27 years old. He's the one who has only beaten a 4-0 fighter. He's the one who's beaten the 2-2, the 7-6. He does have that spearing jab I was talking about. He's heavy on his feet. He likes to be in the pocket. He's got that nice uppercut. That's this guy. So just remember everything I told you guys by accident on that last breakdown. That's for this one. Bilal Hasan is 25 years old, and he is making his UFC debut off Dana White's Contender Series. You guys, he was the largest favorite in Dana White's Contender Series history, and he won by knockout in 45 seconds.
So he throws heavy kicks. Oh, God.
He told you he likes to work quickly.
Oh, he is team.
He is going crazy to get the finish in the first round. The biggest.
It's hard to pay off a 50-1 price tag, but it kind of feel like he did, man. Really fast hands, really accurate with his punches, natural power. That speed and that accuracy makes it look like you hit like Francis Ngannou when you're one of these little guys. I like him. He was the Cage Fury FC featherweight champion, defended that thing 3 times, 7 wins so far by knockout. I mean, the UFC does this once or twice a season where somebody impresses so much that they're like, get this man a fight, get him on a card. And when they do that, Brady, they don't lose. Like we saw it with Wint, last week, right? The UFC was like, get him in here. Round 1 finish. A lot of people with the hot take of like, well, Wint sucks. There's no way. Like this guy might not be that good, but he'll beat Wint, right? He'll push him a little bit. No, not even close. I told you guys he was a bum, by the way. They're doing the same thing here. Rojas is 9-0, so it's like at least this kid looks good, right? This kid looks like he belongs in the UFC. He looks like he should get an opportunity in the UFC. I feel like there is some measure of respect that kind of needs to happen there. But again, he's a guy that hasn't really been tested. He's a guy that hasn't really been hit all that hard. He hasn't fought anybody good, frankly. So now he's going to get Bilal Hasan, who's 25 years old, who's in his prime, who's riding hot, matching 9-0 records, minus 650 for Bilal Hasan. Man, that's tough. Because like I want to just click and be like, hey, the UFC knows exactly what they're doing. This is the kid that they have circled. So I want to bet on him to win. But minus 650 against a guy in Rojas who looks like he's pretty good too and doesn't really seem to have done anything for me to like question him being okay, besides the fact that he hasn't fought very stiff competition. It kind of makes this number hard to swallow, Brady. I mean, I got to pick the kid, right? But do you have a hot take on this one? What do you make of this fight?
I might have a lukewarm take.
Okay, I like
definitely
lukewarm.
not a hot take. Yeah, it's like lukewarm. Yeah, I mean, Nelson Rojas is being priced as if he's a bum. He's definitely not a bum. I think he's going to have a lot of wins in the UFC. He throws with very, very intentions for a flyweight. You there?
Yeah, I'm here making faces at the chat. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're frozen on my end. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. Must have just had a little bump in the internet there. We're back. We're good.
All right, we're back. Anyway,
Dravi just popped in the chat. We're blaming it on him, Brady.
Yeah, it's Dravi's fault. Shout out Dravi. My lukewarm take is I think it's gonna go over. Rojas, he's one of these guys that looks very, very tough, very, very durable, never been knocked out, never been finished. And I think people are looking a little bit too much into this guy Hasan just knocked out a complete bum in 30 seconds. But the fight before that, he went to like round 4. So I think this fight can get extended. I do think Hasan might be able to get a late finish because he does do really good work to the body. Could see maybe a late knockout to the body, but I kind of think it's Hasan, and maybe Hasan by decision is my lukewarm take of the week. I do think he wins. He has more variety, more volume on the feet. Rojas, he throws with very bad intentions, but with that style, you're bound to slow down, and he does, and it can be a little bit low volume. So, yeah, Hasan should win. Minute winner, more volume, better cardio, good body work. I think it's Hasan either late or by decision.
Okay. I don't mind that one bit. The one thing I was kind of looking at as far as the props go, over 1.5 is -155. Now, Rojas, I'm not sure is an over guy, but I do feel like Hasan might be an over guy. So I lean with the over 1.5 on this one. I don't think he's going to come back with like a, back-to-back sub 60-second KOs. I would lean towards
when
the over.
me and Weezy did our show last night.
Go ahead.
You there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when me and Weezy did our show last night, the over was actually plus 105. It's now minus 150, so it got obliterated.
That's crazy. Okay, so I'm leaning towards this over here at chalk. Somebody got this bad boy at plus money, which is nuts. Congratulations if you're the one out there holding that ticket right now, over 1.5 plus money. I'd be willing to lay a little bit of chalk on it. I don't know about minus 155, so I'll have to kind of think about that one, circle the wagons, and come back to it here, because I'm tempted to look at the over, fade the violence, give these guys a little bit more time to work in the cage. All right, everybody, real quick, we got to shout out Spectation Sports. As you know, the fastest growing show in the game. LFA last week. We got LFA again this week. The prelims are hosted on Spectation Sports these days, and we have not one, not two, three events coming up this weekend, including Rough 70, where they're going to spotlight a bunch of those guys out of the Red Hawk Academy here locally. MMA Lab is on the card. We've got AFP. This place is growing. We've got more organizations joining as well. So you're just going to get more and more and more live regional content using Spectation Sports. There's a lot of guys that have been on Dana White's Contender Series very recently, just the past 2 weeks. We've been cashing tickets, and the whole reason we knew about any of them to pull the trigger and make a couple of plays was because of Spectation Sports, and I can help you save some money, you guys. 20% off when you sign up if you use promo code DIEHARD. Use the link in the description below. Check them out. And then, of course, please follow us on social media. You're going to get lots of finishing clips, lots of hype. It's good stuff. Not going to cost you anything to hit that follow button. So go check them out. Make sure you tell them Clint sent you and get plugged in. We are back, you guys. We are talking UFC Shanghai. Brady and I are ready to be blurry-eyed first thing in the morning, sipping on. What are you going to be sipping on, Brady? What do you drink at 3 a.m.?
Oh, I'm going to be drinking coffee. I got a full fight companion to do, man. It's going to be rough. Maybe a coffee, maybe an energy drink, something to wake me the hell up.
Yeah, see, I was going to go with like Bloody Mary because usually I'm thinking breakfast, but then I was like, you know what? That's mimosas and Bloody Mary at 3 a.m. Probably not the greatest idea. So yeah, probably a Red Bull, right? Probably some coffee. Yeah. Get your energy drink. We're going to be struggling on this one, but join us. DFS by the numbers. If you guys don't know him, a very, very good resource in the game. Also, very funny, a fun guy to follow on social media as well. So good all around. Find his links in the description below here to give him a follow. Support our boy. And let's talk through these last couple of fights here. We have got Levi Rodrigues taking on Lusa, which, by the way, is how you say that. So Lusa is 30. I'm sorry, not 31. He's 3-1. The old brain saw that record and didn't click right. He's 29 years old. He is 3-1 as an MMA pro. And Brady, when I saw this, I was like, oh no. Like, are we doing this shit again? I thought this was another Trayshawn Gore situation where we're like, okay, we like this guy. He's in somebody's gym. He's going to go in there and he's going to do his best, but he's probably going to get his ass kicked a couple times. It's going to take him a while to get back on track. No, you guys. This is Asian Alex Pereira. He is 3-1 in MMA because he's got a ton of kickboxing experience. This man is a K1 kickboxing champion who is converting over to MMA. And he's got some good footwork, Brady. He moves really well for a big guy. He chops those lower calves. He's got big power in that left hand, big clinch knees. I mean, he is nasty. And when he hits, he cracks hard.
Attempt to put the foot down and go for it now. To try and knock down. Oh, the big kick off. The huge kick off.
And that's with like full gloves, man. That's with 16 ounces. He about took that man's head off to win the K1 kickboxing championship. He did lose, however, like 2 years ago. One of his more recent MMA fights, he lost to like a 3-0 guy. He didn't know what he was doing on the mat, Brady. As always, these guys coming over, they overestimate themselves. They don't do enough work on the grappling. They always get exposed. They always get, one shot to take these bums down and make them look bad with the jiu-jitsu. He didn't have an answer. He couldn't get off his back. He gave up his back, and then he ended up getting like pounded until he gave up his neck and he got choked out and finished. His last win, which was just recently, was over like a 2-5 guy, and now he gets booked into the UFC. He was supposed to fight Junior Tafa, which would have just been glorious. It would have been amazing to watch this guy stand and bang it out with Junior Tafa. But Junior Tafa knew the UFC was signing him up for a death sentence. He pulls out. He's not taking the public execution. He's running like a little baby, the same way Yair Rodriguez is from my boy Gene Silva. And in steps Levi Rodrigues instead. Levi Rodrigues is 5-1, 29 years old. So far, he's 0-1 in the UFC off of Dana White's Contender Series. And if you guys remember, he was like walking around in his last fight talking about being like a 3-division champion or some shit. And then just got smoked, got plastered in the second round of his fight. You kind of love to see it. He was getting smothered against the cage like the whole fight. He was getting grinded on. He showed decent enough takedown defense, I guess. But he's a big old thick boy. I mean, big, heavy punches. He does look like he's physically strong, good knees and elbows that are in the clinch. If he can get on top of you, this is a very heavy man, big ground and pound, big boy head kicks that he tries to get that thick leg all the way up there. I don't know that he's very good, Brady. I really don't. With 6 professional fights to his name, almost in his prime here at 29 years old, there's not a whole lot of time to improve. I think that Lusa can really just, with 1 or 2 shucks takedowns, if he can just avoid the grappling for 3-4 minutes, he's going to hurt this guy. I actually think the UFC is going to get exactly what they're looking for. I don't know that I can lay minus 200 on this guy just because we know the grappling threat exists. But I'm going to pick him to win. I think the UFC gets their wish. I think it's Lusa by knockout.
Yeah. I pride myself on being able to pronounce these names, Clint. This one has me confused. I listened to the announcers. I hit up Chat GPT. I hit up Google Translate. I hit up YouTube. I hit up everything. And like everybody is saying a different pronunciation, including you. I don't know who to believe.
I got that off K1. So if the K1 boys are pronouncing it wrong, then I'm wrong, and I'll apologize. But that's what the K1 boys were saying.
That's the thing, yeah, because I usually listen to the announcers too, but everybody's saying something different. So I'll call him Liu, Either way, I see why they put this on the main card, man. I mean, this is probably one of the lower level fights I've ever seen, but it's probably one of the most violent fights on the entire card. These guys want to stand and bang. Liu has a ton of great leg kick knockouts. It's what he's best at, which is why the Tafa fight would have been so hilarious. He would have kicked Tafa's legs off in 20 seconds. But yeah, Rodrigues is down to stand and bang. Rodrigues is extremely hittable, but Rodrigues has a ton of power. What I like a lot in this fight, and what I like a lot more than laying minus 200 on a 3-1 fighter, is the under 1.5, which is actually a better price than the 3-1 fighter because both guys have 0 striking defense and both guys have a ton of firepower. And what I also like about this fight is you look at Levi Rodrigues and a couple of his fights, including his last fight, he'll be held against the cage. He got held against the cage a little bit on the Contender Series, got held against the cage a little bit in his last fight in his debut. Liu's not going to do that. Liu's going to try to stay at range. Both these guys are going to try to stay at range, and they're going to stand and bang until one man falls. I think it's going to be a dick swinging contest. I think it's going to come down to who has the bigger cock. If Rodrigues gets his fight down to the ground, he's going to run through Liu because Liu has the worst ground game in UFC history. I'm talking, he makes Junior Tafa look like Damian Maia. That's how bad Liu's grappling is. But I think they're going to stand it out, and they're going to bang. I think this fight's going to end within the first couple minutes. Both guys are too defensively irresponsible, and both guys are too powerful. Give me the under 1.5 at minus 185. It's chalky, but I would argue there might be some value there.
Okay. I like it. Early violence. Let's get in there and swing some cocks, boys. That's going to be a good time. Iceland Farts, my man, says, Clint, you have been on a hot streak. Are you profitable yet? My man, I haven't had a chance to update the record. It's probably not. I will tell you honestly, probably not, because I have been kind of pitter-pattering with these +1, +0.5, +1.5. Like, so even though I'm on an 8-event win streak, there were 3 or 4 of those events that the wins were like narrow, like balls to the buzzsaw. I barely squeezed it out type of situations. So I will fully confess, I'm pounding my chest. I'm happy to be on this win streak. Any win is better than a loss, but I'm still probably in the negative. I still got some work to do. So we got to keep this bad boy rolling. Dream asking or saying you would love a Caesar if you like Bloody Marys. It's the Canadian version of it. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to look into that. I'll try anything twice. Tim, no, we're not acknowledging Dravi. He caused the lag. Okay, the internet is down because Dravi joined the chat. No, I'm kidding. And KB says it comes down to who has the bigger what now. No, you heard us. You heard Brady. He didn't stutter. All right, everybody. I don't know. Brady, I don't know if you're ready for this. This is my main event. This is everybody's main event this week. The most anticipated rematch in MMA history. We are running back Alex Perez and Sumudaerji, baby. It is happening this weekend. If you guys remember, we have the dick-kicking champion going on here at UFC Shanghai. And Alex Perez was the victim of the toes of Sumudaerji, okay? Alex won round 1 in that fight. You can't argue that. A lot of people were high on Sumudaerji in that fight, but Alex won round 1, so he was up on the scorecards. Round 2 was very obviously a Sumudaerji round. However, Alex wasn't going down. So it was not a finish. He gets kicked in the junk, and a lot of people were really, really, really unnecessarily angry about that, Brady, because a lot of people were talking about Alex like faking it and all that kind of stuff. He was like Cody Garbrandt. He was dry heaving because he got hit so badly in the balls, and people were like, "Oh, just brushed him." I want to tell you guys, as somebody who personally has had a testicle smashed by your cup, just because a grazing shot, the cup just jiggles a little bit, just enough, just makes a little bit enough of a space for something to slip through in there, and then it comes back where it's supposed to be and smashes anything in its way. That is one of the most painful things I've ever experienced in my entire life. So if you want to get mad at these guys for the eye pokes and the cup shots, I am never going to agree with you, because if I'm in my underwear in front of hundreds of thousands of people and my left testicle gets smashed, I don't give a fuck what any of you think. Like I'm never going to judge these guys in that circumstance. So I don't think he faked it. And I think that's obvious by the fact that we're running this back, right? He immediately took the rematch and was like, yes, book it. Let's go. Let me just, saran wrap my dick first, and we're going to take another shot at it. So here we go. We're running it back. It was going to be 1-1 going into the 3rd round. And what you guys need to realize is, I believe Sumudaerji, was this a pick'em, Brady? Do you recall? Or was he slight plus money?
I had a bet on Perez at like +120.
Okay. So Perez was the slight underdog. It was very close to a coin flip. He is now +190. So they have moved this line. Everybody and their mother is convinced that Sumudaerji should be a much, much larger favorite coming into this fight. We already know how both these guys go. Alex Perez is one of the most hot and cold fighters in the division. He's a guy who on his best night can knock out somebody who's challenging for the title. He actually just smoked Charles Johnson with one of the cleanest shots you'll ever see.
Himself. He's moving intelligently.
And Hasan steps in. That indeed will do it. Charles Johnson doesn't.
I mean, he is nasty, man. He's got serious striking in his hands. He's got serious power, is what I meant to say. He's got fast hands. He's got very serious striking. He's a good wrestler. The big thing with Alex Perez has always been that Achilles heel of his of leaving his neck out there. If he gets tired, if he slips up, if he makes a mistake, he ends up getting choked out. He gets choked out a lot. And I'll always talk about the fight where it looked like he was on his way to win against Asu Almabayev. I mean, a legitimate title challenger, a contender. Alex Perez was on his way to winning that fight. But in the third round, Asu said, no, sir, not tonight. And he jumped on his back. I mean, like Hail Mary style, took his back as quickly as he possibly could. And that was it. That was a wrap. He couldn't get him off. He got choked out. So that's the kind of shit that happens with Alex Perez. You can't really trust him just because of the fact that he can always fall apart in these types of situations. But similar to Angie Hill, on his best nights, he is always competing with the absolute best in the sport. He's 34 years old, so he's getting a little bit older, but I feel like he's always kind of overlooked and a little bit underrated. In these spots, he's the parlay buster. He's the guy that shows up when you least expect him to. And now Sumudaerji is 30 years old. He's 3-3 in his last 6 fights. He is currently on a 3-fight win streak, so seems like maybe he's turning that around just a little bit. But he's a guy that I've always felt is kind of mid, right? He's extremely tall. He's extremely long. He is a very good striker, but he had no idea how to fucking grapple when he made it to the UFC. He has kind of patched that hole up to some extent. Now he's 30 years old. He's got much better takedown defense, but he similarly has 6 losses by sub. If you take this guy down, he doesn't know what the fuck to do about it. His win streak is Mitch Raposo, Kevin Borjas, who's going to get cut, and then Jesus Aguilar, the guillotine merchant. So his win streak is extremely fraudulent. This is a fight that last time, Brady, I said, you know what? It doesn't make any sense to me to have Perez be an underdog to this guy, because Sumudaerji is going to win like the striking edge, right? He's going to be a slightly better striker. He's cleaner. He's longer. That all makes sense to me. But there's such a dominating advantage on the ground for Alex Perez that when I look at it, I'm going, okay, like small edge standing to Sue, big edge grappling to Alex. That's kind of how I felt about it. So I took the shot. I took the shot on Alex Perez. I was ready to go to war with him there. And looking at this line now, the way they've moved it and how the last fight played out, I think I got to go back to the well. How do I not? Like, we actually get to watch these guys run it back. I always tell you guys, no rematches ever look the same as the first fight. Ever. Alex is going to make adjustments. He's now felt what Sumudaerji can and will do in the cage to defend his takedowns. You don't think he's going to come out with a slightly tweaked game plan? You don't think he's going to look to do something a little bit differently this time? I think I can bank on Alex Perez making better adjustments in the rematch than Sumudaerji, because Sue is going to look at that first fight and go, everything was perfect. I nailed it. I'm going to do exactly the same thing this time. Alex is going to go, okay, I need to change this. I need to change this. I need to change this. And now I'm getting plus 200. Why do I not just run this back and go, it's the same fight. Nothing has changed. Alex Perez gets another crack at it. I get a juicier number, Brady. I think I'm going to run it. I like Alex Perez this week. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, at this number, I think you kind of got to. For me personally, I don't know. Like Alex Perez is just one of these guys that are just tough to. It's tough to cap his fights. It's tough to predict his fights. He's so hit or miss. And there were a couple of those last week where it's like these guys are so hit or miss, like Sergey Spivak, Kennedy Nzechukwu. These just very untrustworthy guys. And Perez is another one. Like on his best night, he can go out there and hang with the best in the division. On his worst night, he can go out there and be up 2 rounds and just blow it and get subbed. He's blew it so many times, Clint. He's blown it so many times in the UFC. So I don't know. And then I had a bet on Perez too. And I'll be honest, I hated the bet. During the fight, he got dropped badly. It looked like it was not going in the right direction. It looked like Sumudaerji was on his way to winning the fight. So I felt horrible.
We had a whole third round though, Brady. We had a whole third round.
We did. But I felt bad about it. I felt bad about the bet, and I was celebrating the no contest. I was like, yes,
me too.
Give me my money back. Give me my money back. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's one I'll probably stay away from. I do think it's got to be dog or pass. I mean, minus 225 for Sumudaerji. I think we're getting a little bit far ahead of our skis here. I mean, this guy at the end of the day still has a major hole in his grappling. Alex Perez, in theory, should have a big advantage on the ground if he takes it there. But I kind of lean Sumudaerji to win the fight, but I kind of think the line should be a lot closer. So, yeah, it's dog pass, but it's a tough click. It's Alex Perez. But if I was forced to bet this fight, it would be Perez. But luckily, Clint, nobody's forcing me to do shit, and I'm not having to come back on this card, so I'm going to probably pass.
Yep. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. But, man, I always say that the hardest clicks are usually the best ones to make. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
I think this fight is one where I saw value at plus 125 last time. How do I say there's no value at plus 190? Gotta
point.
go. You know, guys, this might break the streak. Like, I might have a losing event this week because I bet Alex Perez. That's entirely possible. But I can't look at myself in the mirror. If I'm like, hey, I bet plus 125 last time, they offered me plus 190, and I just passed. You know, it's the same fight. It's the same fight. My guy, in fact, he's probably going to have an easier time making weight because he's got one less testicle. So there's upside here. there's an advantage to be had. So I'm probably gonna, guys, be ready to troll and mock me relentlessly on social media, because when I pick Alex Perez, you just know that place is gonna fucking explode. I can't wait for it. All right, here we go. Next up, Aoriqileng takes on Kai Asakura, what promises to be an absolute fucking banger, Brady. This one should be awesome. Aoriqileng is a guy who I've been a fan of for a while. The Mongolian murderer, 33 years old, 3-3-1 in his last 7 fights here. He's kind of treading water. He's fighting for his life in the UFC right now. He's getting a little up there in age. He's got a lot of experience, and you're starting to see the cracks in the armor, man. I always said that the big thing with him is he hits hard. He never gets up. He always comes forward, and he looks to trade. You can't knock him out, but he sure as hell can knock you out. Well, that started to slip a little bit. You know, the time I got really adamant about the fact that he was durable as shit was when he fought Amin Zahabi. And then he got dropped and knocked out in the very first round. That was a bad look for me to like plant my flag and be like, this dude's got a chin. Not so good. And he's kind of alternated wins and losses since then. He's coming off of yet another knockout loss, unfortunately, to Cody Haddon in his last fight. So these young kids that are quicker than him, they're just getting to him. But he also proved that he, to some extent, has at least a little bit still got it when he fought Cody Gibson.
I asked Cody about the dirt. Oh! Mongolian murderer, indeed.
Now, you always get these shots where if you're running into punches, they land a hell of a lot harder. And that it's actually funny. Last week, I bet Markel Medeiros, and people were joking on me here in the chat, telling me how dumb I was because nobody's ever knocked out what's his name, Mason Jones. And I said, guys, but the thing is, if you're running into shots, it hits harder. Like you're putting your momentum forward. It's not just the power that's coming back at you. You're like adding to the velocity. You're adding to the force. And that's what happened in that spot, right? So Aoriqileng kind of got the perfect situation, landed the perfect shot, caught his opponent coming in. He's taking on Kai Asakura, who doesn't need his opponents running into him to land knockouts.
That combination.
Right hand.
Smotherman in trouble. Oh, now he's a player.
32 years old, 22-6, finally got his first UFC win. He started off 0-2. They threw him into the deep end. You know, they needed people to fight Pantoja, so they signed him and brought him over. He was supposed to be like a big, exciting deal. No shame in losing to Pantoja. But then he got smothered by Tim Elliott in his next fight, and everyone kind of was down on him at that point. They tossed him the softball. They gave him Cam Smotherman, and he made good on that fight. He gets the first round knockout, and now we're back, baby. We're just so back with Kai Asakura. The problem is he kind of struggles with the pressure and the grappling. It's pretty apparent that he's not quite to the level of like the UFC champions and contenders. He's a little bit older, so I'm not sure he's ever going to get that second crack at the UFC title or anything like that, but he's a wild brawler. He's really big for the weight class. He's got fast hands, and he hits hard as fuck. I think this is another spot where the UFC is just giving him an opportunity to show out, Brady. Aoriqileng is getting a little up there. He's getting a little older. The chin is kind of fading a little bit somewhat, and he's not going to come out here and like hump the leg of Kai Asakura. He's going to get in there and try and fight, which is exactly the type of fight that Kai can find his offense in. I think violence makes sense again in this fight. And even though it's like closing in on minus 500, I do think this is another Kai Asakura spot where he can definitely show people what he got signed for.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. You know, people were calling Asakura a bum after the Elliott fight. It's like, what do you mean? This guy's not a bum. His grappling might stink, but at the end of the day, he got subbed by Pantoja, in his debut in a title fight. Like, there's no shame in that. And yeah, he gets subbed by Elliott. It's not a good look, but yeah, there's a hole in his grappling. His striking is so good. I don't think people understand how good Kai Asakura's striking is. Some of the fastest hands, some of the best knees. This guy has murderous power punching for both the flyweight and bantamweight division. And we finally got to see somebody not hump his leg in his last fight. And that's why I loved Kai Asakura against Cameron Smotherman, because Cameron Smotherman's grappling is probably worse than Kai Asakura. So, and people were betting Smotherman that week because people thought Asakura is a bum. No,
That was
he's
crazy.
not a bum. His grappling is a bum. No, he's not a bum. His grappling is. So, Aoriqileng's not a grappler. He is a marauder. He's going to come forward. He's going to brawl. And you can't do that against Kai Asakura, man. I mean, you can't have a 46% striking defense against Kai Asakura, man. I mean, Jeff Molina was knocking this guy down multiple times back in the day. And I'm with you. I think he's eaten so much damage that I think the chin's starting to go. I mean, Ayman Zahabi knocked him out in 60 seconds. Cody Haddon knocked him out with a knee to the body. Guess who else has very good knees to the body? And I mean, very good knees to the body. It's Kai Asakura. I was watching tape on him. I saw like back to back knee to the body knockouts. So, yeah, I think it's a phenomenal violence spot, especially because Aoriqileng is not going to hump his leg. He's not a bitch. He's going to come forward. He's going to try to knock out Kai Asakura. And I think, for better or for worse, that's going to lead to somebody getting just destroyed here. I think that somebody is Aoriqileng. So I like Kai Asakura. It's a shame we're not getting him at like minus 220. I think it's like minus 220 against Smotherman, which is hilarious. They're starting to catch on now. He's minus 450. I think that makes a lot more sense. But I'm going to be looking at a violence angle. I think, fight doesn't go to decision as a parlay piece. Fight ends by KO as a parlay piece. Fight won't start round 3. I think these guys are going to go to war. And if they go to war, I don't see this fight lasting long. So, yeah, give me violence. Give me Asakura. Give me Asakura by brutal knockout.
I like it. We're on the same page here on this one, Brady. I think we are going to get another highlight reel KO. Sorry, Aoriqileng. Always been a fan, man. Damn Mongolians. Gotta love South Park. All right. Next up, you guys, we have got our main event of the evening. Yan Xiaonan takes on my girl, Denise Gomes, the originator, the reason that we bet the Brazilian lesbians with the neck tattoo. Denise Gomes herself, 12-3, 26 years old, 4-fight win streak. We've been all over it, you guys, with Denise Gomes. This chick has got power. She is nasty. She actually took a bit of a step back where she's kind of had a more measured pace with her striking. We saw that against Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Lots of footwork, lots of stance switching. She pumps the jab more. She finds that range out there. She rolls her shoulders. Brady, I love this girl. She does everything. My girl D is going places. I feel like she's kind of a leveled up version of Jessica Andrade. She reminds me a lot of like just the little power punching tank that Jessica was. She's got nukes in her hands when she decides to let those things fly. She does have a 66% takedown defense rating, and that is something that could kind of hinder her. We haven't seen her get takedown a whole lot lately, so we'll see what that looks like moving forward. She did really well against Tisha Pennington. You can't really knock on her for not finishing a girl like Tisha. She's incredibly tough, incredibly durable. She always has been. That's kind of been her thing. So don't worry. There's some power in this girl's hands, even though she hasn't shown it in some of her recent fights. She's a little small. That is the other thing I will mention. Denise Gomes is a little on the small side. Yan Xiaonan on the other side is going to be big in there, 3 inches taller. She's going to be much larger looking when they get in that cage. She's a little older though, 19-5, 37 years old. She's training out at Team Alpha Male with the main event Song Yadong. She's 3-3 in her last 6. And I will be honest with you guys, I've had a really tough time with picking Yan Xiaonan fights. I don't really know how to rank her. When she went on that ridiculous run that got her to the title shot, I think I bet against her like half of those fights. I just never really believed in her. She ends up beating everybody that I end up trying to fade her with, though. Like I thought that Dern and Andrade were going to get her out of there, and those are the 2 fights that she won that got her the shot against Zhang Weili. If you remember, against Zhang, she basically lost that fight twice. She got finished in like the first round, but another weird situation where the refs didn't stop the fight. They let her get like picked up by her corner and like dragged to the stool. And so then she recovers, and I had a Zhang inside the distance ticket, Brady. And it ends up going the full 25 fucking minutes because I don't know why, but like, did Zhang just feel bad for her? Like, she already choked her out the one time. Did she feel bad after that and then decided not to finish her the second time? I don't know. It was really weird and it really hurt me that night. But you can tell Yana's got decent striking. She's got plus power for the women's division. She's well-rounded. She recovers extremely quickly. She's got 64% takedown defense, so she also can kind of get taken down. Dern ended up going 2 of 11 on takedowns against her, but she ended up with 9 minutes of control time. So even though she's big, like, she can kind of be had in the grappling game as well. Both these women kind of tend to want to come and bang it out. They tend to be strikers. I'm curious who would be the one that might shoot that first takedown and look for that grappling advantage. It's weird, man, because a lot of people expected me to come in here and pound my chest and go, my girl, Denise Gomes, this is her spot. This is what we've been waiting for. She was like a plus 150 underdog. Some money has come in on her. So she's about plus 135 right now. Yan Jianan is like a minus 160 favorite. And I do think there's an argument to be had for like the changing of the guard. The fact that my girl is on the way up. She's learning, she's developing, she's improving. She's probably like a future better version of what Yan Jianan is. But Yan is also giving the toughest women in this weight class hell at 36, 37 years old. She is by no means shot. She is by no means out of it. She's going to be a whole lot bigger in there, which I think could cause some problems. And when she fought similar levels of opposition, she's had similar results. It wasn't that long ago that Denise Gomes was struggling. Angie Hill kind of put a clinic on her. She lost to Loma Lukbunmi a little earlier in her UFC run. So even though I love her and she's doing incredible right now, I don't think she's going to like one-hitter quitter Xiaonan. And because she's probably not going to be able to just clip and KO somebody like Yan, this is going to be a fight, man. I'm struggling here. I really am. I'm rooting for my girl Gomes, but there is something. It's like Jillian all over again, Brady. I bet on Jillian. I donated money on Jillian Robertson, but I told you guys that's a hard pick. I am picking against her in this fight. I just have to bet her so I can be along for the ride, right? It's the same thing here, except I think I'm done donating. Like, I don't want to donate here just because she is my girl. I really think Yan Jianan is going to win this fight. Talk to me, Brady. Give me a reason to dig deep, go back to my girl, get a win, and then get matching neck tattoos.
You want to get a neck tattoo? Don't do that. Don't get the neck tattoo, man.
I'll get the same butterfly she's got.
Oh God, don't do that, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's a tough fight to call. It's one I did struggle to pick as well, because I mean, if it's a pretty fight, if it's a technical fight, like, it's gonna favor Yan Jianan. She's a very technical fighter. She's a very good striker, very fast. She's not the most exciting fighter. She's not gonna go out there and put on a very exciting performance. She's not going to go out there and get many knockouts. I think she has one knockout in the entire UFC run. Denise Gomes is exciting, though. Denise Gomes is a very exciting fighter with a lot of power. So it's like the technical striking of Yan versus the, very aggressive, very hard-hitting Gomes. Like, Gomes needs to make it a dogfight. Gomes needs to make it a little bit dirty, a little bit greasy. She needs to mix in the takedowns as well. And if she can do that, I think she can make this close. I think it's going to be Yan maybe landing more volume, but Gomes landing maybe the bigger shots, mixing in a takedown or two. So I think it's a very close fight. I do think there might be some value on Gomes here, but at the end of the day, we are going to be in China. And if it does go to the decision, the hometown judges may give it to Yan. So yeah, it's one I'm not touching. I think it kind of has split decision written all over it. I see it being a close fight, the minute winning of Yan versus the moment winning of Gomes. I think it has kind of split written all over it. So yeah, passing for me, slight lean actually to Gomes, 11 years younger, more dangerous, grappling upside, but don't know if I'm going to get there and pull the trigger on it, though.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're kind of in the same boat here. We're like slightly in the other way for me, right? But I don't think I'm going to bet it. Tough call here. It's minus 300 to the over 2.5. Frankly, that might be the move, Brady. It might be a parlay piece on just this fight to go over, because both these chicks are tough. And I don't know that anybody's getting a finish here. So I could see this co-main event being one that kind of puts us to sleep. We're all going to be struggling at like 6 a.m. after waking up early for these fights. And it's going to be like, fucking hell, man. Like, these last couple of fights are dragging.
It's gonna be rough. And then we got to watch Umar fight for 25 minutes. Everybody's going to be falling asleep, man.
I know, right? It's going to be tough. Shout out Justin saying, bro, Brady,
Justin.
legendary guest. Yes, he is. He is a legend, and he's in the house. If it goes to the judges, could be a robbery over there. Seamus, yeah, definitely could be. Brent in the chat says, Clint, you're a beast. The streak is untouched. Your tweaks to your style have made a significant impact. Keep cooking. Thank you, Brent, my friend. I appreciate it. Hopefully, the adjustments will keep us headed the right direction. We've also got some good bounces, man, and that's the thing. I can't like put my hand up and just be like, you know what? I'm just the best now. We've obviously gotten some good luck, right? I can break these fights down forward and backwards, and sometimes the fighter goes out there and does the exact opposite of what I'm like, hey, this has got to be like the style matchup, the game plan. They just do their own fucking thing, and the fight goes a completely different direction. It just happens. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it, but we got to brace ourselves because the pendulum could swing at any point in time. We don't want to get out over our skis. Let's just stay locked the fuck in. Did you have something you wanted to say there, Brady?
Yeah, I do.
Not that. Don't say that. What happened?
They're adding a fight to this card.
Oh,
not
breaking news.
It's oh God. Listen to this. They're bringing in Yilazati Mama Meijing. Yilazati Mama Meijing. Okay. Whoever the hell that is. He's taking on Tristan Vines. The guy
Am I supposed to know who either of those people are?
Tristan Vines ran away from a Teba for 2.5 minutes and then got kneed. Who is Yisazati Matamajang? Who's that?
I have no idea.
Well, they're fighting this weekend, and we're waking up at 3:00 in the morning to watch it.
All right. Well, you all heard it here first. Breaking news. Very important news. I obviously knew exactly who those two people were, and we're gonna, it matters.
Oh God.
Yeah, well, good to know. Hey, I'll always take an extra fight, but don't unfortunately know anything about either of those people. You guys will have to let me get back to you. We'll make the best of that one when we get a little bit more info. Let's talk about the main event though, because as you guys should know, damn well know at this point, I am your bantamweight king, and it's a bantamweight main event, baby. Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Song Yadong. They are making me Sophie's choice, Brady. They're making me kill off one of my babies in this fight, and I hate it. I've been waiting. I love both these guys. I called Song Yadong a little too early. It was a couple of years ago. I watched a couple of his fights, and I just went, he doesn't really seem like he's getting much better. I think that's a wrap, boys. I think that's a wrap. And boy, has he proven me wrong. I felt really stupid about it, but I learned quickly how dumb of a take that was. And we've done a really good job of betting on Song Yadong recently when he's gotten on this hot streak that he's been on. We got a little bit unlucky, if you guys remember, when he fought Corey Sandhagen. They had that really bad doctor stoppage going into the 5th round. They stopped it because of a cut that really wasn't even that bad. We've seen far worse that they've allowed it to continue. And he had all the momentum. I truly believe he was going to win that fight 3-2. Now, obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't guarantee that. But I think he was going to win that fight 3-2 if we had actually watched that 5th round play out. But he's had some serious success against some decent names recently. He choked out Davison Figueiredo. He beat Henry Cejudo, which even though he's a little bit older, he's a little smaller. Like that's still a name. He made Henry Cejudo quit in the cage that night. Again, I'm never going to judge people for, eye pokes, low blows, that kind of thing. But Henry had like the full 5 minutes to recover and still refused to like go back to the fight. It was pretty apparent that Song was just battering him that night. And then just a gorgeous KO. He's relentless, man. The way he handled Ricky Simone was just gorgeous. This guy is built for 5 rounds. I say that all the time. His cardio does not quit. He builds over the course of the fight. He knows how to attack the body. His boxing is tremendous. He's training out there with Uriah Faber, so he's working on his wrestling nonstop. He can mix in the level changes. He did that with Davison Figueiredo. He's not immune to be taking down, so especially against a guy like Umar, I definitely think that's something for us to keep an eye out on here. But Song Yadong is not to be messed with, and his only losses are to champions, Sean O'Malley, Piotr Jan. I mean, Corey Sandhagen, I guess, just didn't quite get the belt right, but he's a legitimate contender. And like I said, that was a cut stoppage, so it wasn't even a fight that he truly lost. So for the last 3 years, guys, he's been doing nothing but fight the best and only losing to literal champions. Umar Nurmagomedov, my boy, my favorite Nurmagomedov, 20-1, 30 years old. I got to be real with you, Brady. It's time to shit or get off the pot. Like, Umar was supposed to be just the compilation of all of his older brothers and cousins, right? He's the youngest. He's the smallest. He's supposed to be the one with the biggest chip on his shoulder. He's supposed to be the one that comes in there and has all the skills of everybody else put together. And he has to, stand up to his older brothers and fight that much harder for the respect. And, it seems like he would just rather be sitting in a field and reading a poem and painting a butterfly. Like, that just seems, he doesn't have that vicious killer instinct that I want from my MMA fighter. So he's a decision machine. They have one highlight, you guys, one singular highlight for Umar when he knocked out Ronnie Barcelos. They run that thing on loop because it's all they've got. Like, he legitimately might have beat Merab, and I don't say could have, I mean might, as in, like, if the judges scored it just ever so slightly differently, he could have won that night, man. It was a fight where it was the first half versus the back half. It all came to round 3, and round 3 was fucking close. He was tearing Merab up on the feet and then able to defend the takedowns. He barely lost that title fight by a hair and just broke my heart that night. Bounced back really well against Mario Bautista and Davison Figueiredo. That was a fun one when he got Mario Bautista, and we got to cash in there on that one with some recency bias payback there. He was still a big favorite, so it's not like it was a big deal or anything like that, but we made it work. We made it work. This fight is scary to me, Brady. It really is, because Song Yadong is a guy who will taste blood to go get what he wants. He wants the title. He wants to be a champion. He will take your head off, and he will never stop coming for you, right? Umar goes out there and wants a pretty fight. He wants to kickbox at range with you. If you get a little too over aggressive, he wants to slow it down. He wants to sit this thing down. Let's take a break, kid. Let's rest up against the cage. He doesn't really want to hurt you all that bad. It's just a contrast of styles that makes me a little bit nervous for a guy like Umar. Now, we've seen his cardio match up with a guy like Merab, so you can't ever poo-poo this kid, because he can. If you can go 15 minutes with Merab, even if you're losing some minutes, that kind of thing, it can. That's better than a lot of other people can do, because Merab just completely destroys pretty much everybody else. But I think Song Yadong has the kind of cardio that can match both of these men. And I still hold true to the fact that I think if the fight with Sean O'Malley were a 25-minute fight, I think Song probably would have found a way to win that one as well. It was a close competitive fight. Over 25 minutes, I think Song finds a way to keep the pressure on and make Sean O'Malley uncomfortable. I think he can do that to Umar here too. The only question is the grappling. Has he worked on his takedown defense enough that he can stuff some takedowns and keep this thing on the feet and then be effective striking against a guy like Umar to win these big minutes? I will tell you guys, I call myself the bantamweight king, and that's because I cashed massive numbers on bantamweights. I basically faded the public opinion over and over and over again. We hit Merab plus 200 when he fought Petr Yan the first time. We hit Aljamain Sterling in the rematch against Petr Yan. We hit the split decision prop and the decision prop on that one at huge numbers. That's all my success has come from betting the dogs in these big spots. And the one time I abandoned my own strategy was when I had already crowned Umar the champion when he fought Merab. And I laid chalk against my own boy Merab because I said, you know what? It's destiny. It's supposed to be Umar. If you had faded Umar, again, at a plus 2x number, it would have hit. These numbers are ridiculous at bantamweight, Brady. The top 5 are interchangeable. On any given night, these guys are going to give each other hell. And that's why I've done so well betting bantamweights, because I've gotten a couple of lucky bounces going my way, understanding that this should be a plus 120, not a plus 250 at bantamweight. These guys are all very tight. They're all very skilled. I really feel like this is, if you guys remember back in the heyday of 205, when it was Forrest Griffin, Rampage, Rashad Evans, where it's the belt just kept changing hands. We're in the golden era of 135 pounds right now, you guys. It's so much fun. Whoever fights their best fight wins on any given night. And because of that, I can't lay minus 500 on Umar. I can't do it, Brady. I think this is dog or pass. Plus 400 on Song Yadong. I don't know if I'm going to actually get to the window to click, but let's be real. We are in China. This is the moment for Song Yadong. He's the better striker. He is faster. And so if he can shuck some takedowns and actually do some damage in this fight, there's a very real chance that this will be a close enough fight that the judges give it to the hometown kid instead of the Russian, right? So I actually think this might be the one that is the downfall of Umar Nurmagomedov. And he's 30 years old. He's in his prime. This really is kind of it for him. And I have never seen that hunger from him. I don't think he wants to do this the way his brothers want to do this, you know? I gotta pick Umar, right? Like it's like Jamal Emmers last week. I gotta pick the minus 500, but all the value is on Song Yadong.
Yeah, you don't lay minus 500 here on Nurmagomedov, but yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of him. Like, I think he's so boring. I mean, taking the corpse of Figgy 15 minutes was just infuriating. Taking the corpse of Nate Maness 15 minutes, it's like I agree. It looks like he doesn't want to be there in some of these fights, but yeah, the fact of the matter is he's phenomenal. He's a very, very good fighter. Easily, top 3 in the division. There's not many guys I'd bet against Umar Nurmagomedov. I'd probably bet Merab against him if he was, a good number, and then I'd probably bet Piotr Jan against him. Outside of that, I think he probably beats everybody else. I think he beats he beat Mario Batista, right? He could beat Corey Sandhagen, David Martinez, Barcelos, Fareed Basharat. I think he beats everybody up in this top 15 outside of maybe Merab and Jan. I think those guys maybe give him a tough test, but yeah, I'm in the same boat in a sense, right? I think it's Nurmagomedov. It's just I don't like this number whatsoever. So yeah, it's dog or pass. Maybe like a point spread on Song Yadong. I mean, he's such a big favorite, and Umar's not finishing anybody. Maybe the point spread could be interesting. Maybe like the +9.5, +13.5. I'm curious what those are going to be. But I think at the end of the day, Umar probably wins the fight. But yeah, maybe Song Yadong can steal a round or two. So depending on the line, maybe like a point spread bet. But outside of that, I think it's probably Umar by decision. And it's probably just an unbearable, boring fight as well.
Yeah, that's probably right, man. It probably is Umar by decision. The over 4.5 is like minus 230. That might be the best way to play this. We've seen both. You see, the problem is this is where it's like fucking with me, Brady. Umar looked like he wanted to quit against Merab. And we know Merab doesn't really have hands. I mean, like, he's got hands, but he doesn't have power. You know what I mean? He doesn't knock people out. Song Yadong could really hurt Umar in the deep rounds of this fight. I could see it. Happening. So I want to say over 4.5. I want to say it's probably Umar by decision, but shit, dude, like the hairs on the back of my neck are telling me that like there's a very real chance that Song hurts this guy. And maybe it's like a round 4 TKO and it ruins all those over 4.5 tickets because everyone of course, it's going to go the full 25 minutes, right, with these guys. And then Song has something else to say about it. Or if he runs face first into a knee, right? Like it could go the other way too. But I'm just saying, I don't know. This fight weirds me out, Brady. It really does. I'm very tempted to pull the trigger on Song.
The +5.5 is +215, which means a Song just needs to win 6 total rounds. I think that could be solid, but yeah, I think Song is live in a way. It's so tough betting against guys like Umar because he is very good. He's boring as hell, but he's a phenomenal fighter, and no doubt about that.
For sure, he's very good. He comes from the legacy. Yeah. Father's Plan. We all know they're so fucking good. They just run MMA right now. But I kept expecting Umar to develop. I kept expecting him to get dangerous as his career went on, and it's just never happened. They do that thing where when you get to like round 5, they all like take the back and hang on for dear life, and that just bugs the shit out of me. That I'm ready for somebody to put an end to that. Unfortunately, maybe it's Umar that lets the family down and ends the run. And yes, yes, I know. Besides Patchy, I will say for the record. Patchy, when I did my video and I ranked him #1 bantamweight in the world, you guys like something happened. Like look at what the guy's doing now. because he is not the man I made that video about. Okay. Patchy that we saw in the UFC is not the same guy that won over in the PFL. And now he's losing and he's missing weight and losing in bum promotions overseas. Like, he's not that guy anymore. So I get it. You know, I put my best foot forward. I made a video. It went bonkers. You guys have every right to like roast me for it, but like, please, just like a little bit of understanding. That is not the same person that I made that video about. He was broken by the time he made it to the UFC, apparently. Brady, my friend, thank you for joining me. Guys, that was UFC Shanghai. We got 2 hours of packed content for you here. Bad card. Fun podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show this evening. Brady, if you've got anything coming up, sponsors, shows, whatever you got going on, please feel free. The floor is yours. Let the people know.
Yeah, I wish somebody would sponsor my Fight Companion with Uncle Weezy. We've been doing pretty good on the Fight Companion, so maybe I'll get a sponsor one day for that. So no
hit up Folgers for that one. Best coffee around, keeping me awake for the fights.
That'd be a nice sponsor. Yes, Folgers, hit me up. Energy drinks, hit me up. I'm down. But yeah, check me out on YouTube. DFS by the Numbers, been doing the Fight Companions for Contender Series for UFC. They've been going well. Check me out on Twitter, DFS_numbers. And look, we're both on a hot streak, Clint. I started the year out horribly too. I started out on like a 6-event losing streak. But I'm like, on the last 15 cards, I think I'm up about 50 units the last 15 cards. So hoping to keep it rolling, trying to be a lot smarter, trying to not get too cute, you know, enough of these like 2-3 props when the fighters finish in round 1, stuff like Judice for last week, for example. The old me would have took Judice KO 2-3 and then been pissed off because she knocked her out in round 1. So just being smarter, really picking my shots. And this week I'm really picking my shots. I don't want to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and, you know, lose 5 units just betting on a card like this. So, but for anyway, sure. Yeah, thanks, Clint, for having me on. I'm always down to come on for sure. Thanks, Chad. And yeah, best of luck, guys.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate the hell out of you guys. I do owe my viewers an apology. So real quick, you guys, I want to say thank you for all the love, for all the support. Last week, I did cancel the Undefeated post weigh-in show, and I do apologize for those of you who I left hanging. I meant to come home and I was going to do like a midnight stream to do it for you guys. And then I was like, fuck, like I just don't got it. I'm too tired. And I was going to do like a first thing in the morning stream. And then I had to help around the house and my daughter needed some stuff. And I actually had to like run to Costco to do some shopping for like a family thing that was happening lately. It got crazy and it snowballed real quick. I didn't have the opportunity to. So I know I try to be Mr. Consistent for you guys. I'm sorry. I didn't bring that show to you. We will be back this week. We will get the Undefeated post weigh-in show back on schedule and doing it live here for you guys on Friday evening. Had to spend a little bit of time with the family, went to go take the daughter to see the new Spider-Man movie, which is awesome, by the way. If you guys haven't watched it, make sure you go watch that. But just, one of those things, I got to tell you guys, take care of yourselves. I'm not going to lie. There's been some stuff. Life's gotten a little bit heavy for me lately. You know what I mean? And you never know what people are carrying. You never know what people are dealing with. And you guys are my favorite form of therapy. I come on here and I talk my favorite sport with you guys. I DJ out. I talk about gambling and betting with you guys. But sometimes I'm smiling through it. You know what I mean? And last week I just didn't have it in me to smile through it. And it's something, sometimes it's something simple. My best friend called me up and wanted to get dinner. I got to go watch a stupid movie with my daughter. And, those are the kinds of things that help pick me up just a little bit. So remember to check in on yourself. Make sure you're okay. There's a lot of shit that's crazy going on right now. A lot of people are having a tough time with some of the things and the changes and stuff like that we're all dealing with. It's good to check in on each other, but you can't pour from an empty cup. You're not able to take care of the people around you if you don't have the ability to take care of yourself. Get a good night's sleep. Make sure you eat a good meal. Eat your vegetables. Take some time. If you need it, step away. It's okay. We got you. Appreciate you guys. Love you. We'll see you for the rest of the shows later on this week. Let's keep that streak alive. Let's roll.